Let's go. I'm hyped.
Welcome to the Threshing Floor Podcast, your premier destination for discussion and commentary on the redemption trading card game and its community. Kick back and relax as we catch you up on the latest news, tournament results, and deck building strategies to take your game to the next level. Now, here are your hosts, John Hendricks and Ager the Wise.
All right, that's right. We are here,
Yeah.
John Hendricks, Ager the Wise, on the other side of triple digits.
Let's
So
go.
100 is in the books. We had fun with that. But now, baby, it's time to move on. 101, time to start the count on the next 100. And hopefully we'll get there sooner than we did on the first 100.
Let's do it.
But I am super excited. I have been fired up. I guess it was last weekend when we kind of talked about maybe our very beginning of this week when we talked about, okay, we can do Friday. I told you I'd check with my wife, make sure it was cool. And then we made the plan. And I'm telling you, as each day has ticked down, like just getting more and more excited.
Yeah.
And I really do think, like, I'm so glad that 100 was fun to do. It was cool having all those people join.
really
I wish
good.
John had better reception where he was out camping and could have come through, because that would have been cool. Like a cool kind of, like, we've got John in the woods in his element, like,
Yeah.
he's an outdoorsman by his hobby that he has chosen. It would have been cool to have him on, but I mean, we still had a great time and it was fun. But I'm telling you, the weight that is off of my shoulders now, because building up to that, I mean, some people know, like, I mean, from our Discord, we started talking about plans for episode 100 all the way back in like May of last year.
Mhm.
Tyler brought it up and he's like, so what's the big plans for 100? Tyler, I don't know.
You jinxed us.
Yeah, and then we got to a point to where it felt like we couldn't record because we needed to do something big for 100, and we got 99 done, and then you didn't want to just kind of put out a half-hearted episode or like a normal episode for 100. But now that that's gone, I feel like weight is off. I'm excited. I am, dude. I'm on a redemption
You're ready to
high
fight.
right
You're ready
now.
to go. You're on the hype train,
So-
bro.
Now, I will say, before we go too much further, Tim said he was going to enjoy hearing me talk about it. I'm going to have to talk about it because I think it's awesome, and I think it's really going to be a great quality of life thing for both of us for doing podcasts moving forward. This outline tool that I built, dude,
It's
no
fantastic.
coding experience, nothing. I pulled up Claude AI and I was like, hey, I want to make it easier to build outlines for the podcast because it's a chore.
Mhm.
And he first suggested making a template PDF and then printing it and filling it out either by hand or like autofill on the computer. I was like, yeah, I don't want anything that labor intensive. So then I started, coming up with cool ways to do it through like HTML, making it a interactive thing that I could pull up just to create a form and then export it and save a copy. Then I asked Tim about something. I was like, do you speak this language? Tim, he's awesome all the time. But he was like, well, where are you going? Are you planning on hosting it anywhere or whatever? He asked some questions. Then he offered to throw it on the back end of his website so that we have a place for it to live. And now we can publish the outline. So anyone that is a guest or for us, without all of the edit options, we get a nice clean outline. It's super easy to build an outline. Honestly, if you have 5 minutes, you could probably build an entire outline for a full episode with all of our segments, which is cool. So how you liking it so far, Jake?
This thing is incredible. It's really cool. I wish y'all could see this. This is fantastic. It's got a bunch of automated things here too.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Very interactive. So you get just a little tidbit of information. You pop it, it expands to give you the full information. It's great. Speaking of seeing it, I will probably at some point, I told Tim I was probably going to make a video at some point and show it off, and I will do that. But I wanted to go through at least and make sure it worked properly through an episode. But I'm going to use the outline, and the outline tells me that the first thing we're supposed to do is tell you how great Andy and Kelsey are for continuing to sponsor the podcast. They
Let's go.
are fantastic for the game of redemption. Obviously, they are. I mean,
Giant
this
blessing.
is not a knock on anyone else, but I feel like they are truly the premier retailer for redemption. obviously they have our support, and we're glad to have their support. But they have, I said it on the live stream, but I want to make it a big point here for people that maybe didn't catch that, or just to reiterate, they have re-upped the sponsorship for the next calendar year.
Yes.
So we are going to make a dedicated effort. I'm putting this promise out on the air, so you can go ahead and hold me accountable to it. Fan my feet over the flames. Andy will get more content from us this year. We will record more episodes. I will not go dark after Nationals. I don't think. I'm not playing, so there can't be any rulings that go against me. Too soon? Anyway, I definitely want to thank them. So make sure you're checking them out for all of your redemption and gaming needs to help you get prepared for Nationals, which is just around the corner. According to this, we're 27 days away, and we'll talk about that in a little bit.
That's
but
crazy,
Andy is
bro.
planning on being there at Nationals set up with, and he told me this, so I'm just going to tell you verbatim. He said, with all of our products. So all of our products, I don't know, I feel like there's going to be some products he doesn't bring, but he told me all products. So I would expect that anything you really need legitimately, maybe not scroll cards, but anything you legitimately need for this Nationals, for the formats that are being played, you should have those. He's also going to be bringing those Paragon decks, so you can buy those directly.
That's awesome.
And play in that. So if you're a last minute sign up, the more the merrier. And anyone that signs up, I just want to go ahead and put this and shout it out. We'll say it again in a little bit, but we do have another $100 gift card on the line from Your Turn Games that was purchased through sponsorship, to help us, not from Andy directly per se, but through some contributions from other people, a collective effort. We ended up with 4 $100 gift cards to give away. One of those is going to be given away via raffle to all people that pre-register for the Paragon event. So if you're not registered for that, you can go and do that. You can buy a deck directly from Andy to be prepared to play that without any real hassle. I think they're $75. So
it's pretty good.
Yeah, very good. Now, I do have to ask you, Jake.
I know.
You know it's on here. How are you going in your ongoing recovery from the NBA Finals?
It's been okay. I've been avoiding a lot of NBA talk. I know the draft came through recently, and there's a few trades going through, but I've been turning off my NBA stuff and on Facebook hiding anything in my feed if it's about the New York Knicks or anything else. And that's part of the game. Like sometimes you get right to the second place and you lose, and then you're like, oh well, you got to move on. As I've said before, I don't know if I said it on podcast before. I never want my fandom for any sport to cause me to be overly negative in real life. So I'm a Cowboys fan, and I have to deal with disappointment all the time with that.
You didn't have to. You didn't have to do that. Nobody forced you to admit that.
Well,
you chose to.
When I was a kid, they won the Super Bowl, and I'm like, this is amazing. They're always going to win the Super Bowl. And it did not happen anymore. But anyways, the point is, when the Cowboys don't have a good season, I kind of just disengage from it. And after the Spurs lost the finals, I was like, okay, I'm just disengaging from the NBA talk and just going to chill out and refocus. So I put some of my energy back into redemption and other things in life. So just found a new thing to shift to. It was a good season. Like I'm not going to be upset about the whole season. Like of course we'd rather have it end differently, but at the same time, I'm blessed to have the season that we did, and we were able to just talk about it in Sunday school. It's a way to connect the students. Like we had a couple of our students that really cared about them. Like one of our students went to a couple of the playoff games, or at least one or two. And those are expensive seats. So like, it was just something that we can actually connect on. And I was telling them like this is the type of thing that you can actually build friendships on. And this is the type of thing that you can share the gospel later on with somebody. Like let the Spurs be the opening door to like, hey, that's something that we share in common. We're San Antonians. We care about the Spurs, and then it may be something that they can see God's light in your life. So, as long as I hold on to it as a blessing and don't allow it to cause problems for me, I'm good with sports. So that's good for me.
That is a very mature perspective.
It took a lot of pain to get to that maturity.
I will go ahead and tell you, like, I would not have admitted that I was a Cowboys fan, but also, like, I would never have to be in that position and have that weight on my shoulder that I needed to get off, or weight on my chest, or whatever. I would never need to admit that, because I would never, in the first place, if if I was a Cowboys fan, I would invent a time machine to go back in time to make myself not a Cowboys fan. I mean,
they're literally one of the best franchises in NFL history.
My franchise.
Like, Jerry Jones has been causing problems for the last.
It's not Jerry Jones. It's Jerry Rice. It's Steve Young. It's Joe Montana. Ronnie Lott. Yeah, I'm a 49ers guy. I hate the Cowboys, and rightfully so.
Cowboys and 49ers have the same Super Bowl total, right?
Yes.
See? So, like...
But, well, I say that... But it feels bad when the 49ers were 5-0 in Super Bowls, and now they're 5-3.
No,
and
man.
I've gotten to in my adult life, I've gotten to watch them lose 3 times. So you talk about being able to flip it and just turn it off and all that.
Yep.
I'm still growing in that maturity. If anyone wants to send, prayers to help me in that development, I could use your support. We can crowdsource this thing and maybe I can get there. But if I see Kyle Shanahan get to the Super Bowl again and not win it, or any other coach for that matter, but man,
that's funny and sad.
I mean, could you call one holding on Nick Bosa one time, just one time? Anyway, so we'll get ready to shift gears and move into our first little thing here with some recent news.
Sit back and relax while we get you caught up on all the latest news and notes from around the game and the community.
All right, so the first thing I'm going to do, because we got a couple of things to talk about that have been sitting on the docket for a minute. I mean, since April 10th, and we'll talk about those in a minute. But I want to shout out Jaden Alstead. Jaden Alstead is one of the best players in the game. Historically, he's already one of the best players, if not the best in certain categories, in certain regard.
Yes.
And I think that and the fact that he travels to all these tournaments, and every tournament he goes to, he sets up live stream to give us coverage, seeing some of these decks in action, especially for people that are more remote and can't get out to tournaments. It allows you to absorb that information, watch that. You get to enjoy watching it, but you can also use it as an analytical tool to see kind of like what's doing well, lines of play that you might not. Right.
Yeah.
You might not be exposed to a meta game until nationals, depending on where you're located.
At least an established meta game, yeah.
Yeah. So it's awesome that Jaden has done that and been able to do that. But in addition to that, we used to, I feel like we used to talk about the golden age of redemption content. Like it was here. We had Jared Strauss, we had Rob M, we had Tyler making his videos. Babooni Tim jumped on the scene, started making his. You remember that outlandish thing? One video a day.
Exactly, a day. That was incredible.
Lasted like a week.
I mean, no, but like even at his height, he was doing like 3 videos a week or something.
Yeah, it was great.
Incredible.
And then you had, like, you were even recording some of your gameplay and putting it out there from the Lucky Grand Prix. And now I feel like a lot of that is slowed down. And I'm not knocking anyone, because I'm glad that Tim is not putting out videos, because what he's given us with his, repurposing his time is the Redemption CCG app, which is fantastic. I love that. I love being able to, support it by talking about it here on the podcast. Also,
not to mention the wedding bells.
Yeah. Again, congratulations. Now we're hoping that, she don't turn him out and him change to a, we don't want him, not answering his phone anymore or anything. He's like, Redemption, I ain't got time for you. We don't want that. But as long as that doesn't happen, we're good.
Do whatever God calls you to do, even if it's dropping Redemption for a while. Okay.
Okay, fine. But I just wanted to shout out Jaden, because he has been so consistent with not only getting that live stream when he goes to tournaments, but also making sure he's putting out consistent videos. And it's kind of ironic I say that, and he didn't put out a legit video this week, quote unquote, but he did live stream his game with Jeremy Chambers. We're recording Friday night. Break that fourth wall down like we always do.
Break it down.
Yeah, break down the walls. Sorry, wrestling just popped in my head. Told you, dude. Like, I'm excited. I'm here for it, and I'm in a lot more talkative mood because of it. So I might ramble a lot. That's okay. But Jaden, consistent with his video, so I wanted to spotlight him and say thanks for continuing to fill that need for the community by putting out content. Really enjoyed. And you talk about wedding bells, mentioning with Tim. It's not wedding bells yet. It's not wedding bells yet. I won't even assume that that's going to happen, but Jaden,
she's awesome.
Jaden's got a girl.
Yeah.
Janie's got a gun and Jaden's got a girl.
Yeah. Emma's nice.
Yeah, her personality from the videos popped out. And dude, the line where she's like, "Generic involves music." That should be your new Instagram bio. Cooked him. I almost put that on his name tag for nationals.
That was good.
It was great, and so I enjoyed watching the first one. I started watching the second part of that, going over the Roots 2 spoilers with her. Have not finished that, but I have watched the Honeybound 2, Type 2. He's playing against Joe Roberts, I believe. And then also Minnesota State featuring, it's a recap and then featuring, I believe it's round 1 against Maxwell. I think it's round 1, but that's featuring his Honeybound deck. So that's Honeybound and then Honeybound 2, which is kind of a take on, new pot of mana type stuff, restricting one character and all of that, using a lot of great value. And that deck's going to get even better with Ruth at Nationals, like when that card comes out. So that was kind of fun to see him get to use that deck in a couple of different ways across both of those formats. But definitely wanted to shout out our boy Jaden before we get into some more, kind of fun stuff, maybe fun stuff. So Jake, I hear there's a new rotation schedule, and this is something I'm sure people probably were really wanting to
get some insight on.
Maybe they weren't. Maybe I'm just crazy for thinking people just sit around waiting for us to talk about stuff on the podcast. But I feel like there was a immediate void. The fact that all these big announcements were made and then we didn't record anything.
Yeah.
We didn't put anything out. So we're just now getting around to them. And these were posted on April 10th. So
April 10th.
It's been a while. And I'm glad they didn't do it on April 1st because I like a lot of the direction here. I like a lot of it. So this one right here is about the rotation schedule specifically. I believe it was the first one that was announced, and then Tyler chimed in with his announcement about changes. So if you want to, I'll let you take the reins here and just tell us you can just read it, but tell us the words of John Early. Give us your best John Early impression. Let's hear the Red Dragon Thorn tell us about the new rotation.
Well, I don't even know how to begin to imitate his voice.
You got to go camping and lose your internet first.
Okay. I got it. Where redemption.
Sorry.
Every
John.
Start season.
All right.
So no.
Dude, we're wild tonight, baby. We're wild. We should not record on Friday nights anymore. The work week's over. I'm just so relaxed.
Okay. So yeah, they're announcing that Redemption is going to follow a standard rotation schedule every 2 years. Starting at the beginning of the 2027-2028 tournament season. In August 2027, the following sets will rotate out of Limited, which is the new rotation, basically. Categories and only be legal in Unlimited, which is the new Classic, or Classic now is Unlimited. So these are rotating out of rotation or Limited. 4th edition starters decks I and J, including the plus cards. So that's for
bye Daenerys.
That's Daenerys and New Covenant.
Yeah.
The 10 cards, the early church cards, Persecuted Church, Cloud of Witnesses, and Revelation of John. So that's going to be a big chunk of cards, leaving us for Foreign Wives quite a bit. And another note here, we didn't talk about this for videos because this is not a video. We also had a podcast pop up while in our absence, Hot Takes from Litchfield, and Jay has gone over a lot of the implications of this type of change. So just to go over that, if you look for more information on that, check out Jay's podcast on that. Anyways, continuing on with the details, a small number of promos and fundraiser cards may be banned in limited categories when the standard version of that card rotates with the original set, with which it was released. Details still to come. So in August 2029, there's going to be another rotation there. August 2031, there's going to be another rotation. I don't know if we want to go in that specifically right now, but just to go over the concepts here, we got Limited, which is our new rotation, which is what rotation used to be. It's no longer based on the card type. It's going to be actually changing every 2 years. And then we have the new Classic is Unlimited. And people are excited about this because this is going to be tournament supported.
That's the big thing, because Classic never really got off the ground, especially considering, and this is the cool thing about the way that they're doing it. Now, I know that when it was first announced, people, took the names a little bit. They were like unlimited and limited, because that means something to do with card rarity a lot of times in games and things. But, Redemption's it marches to the beat of its own drum. You can compare it to other games, but because of the way that it came about, the way that it's ran by volunteers and not by, overhead from a company and things like that, it has over time operated its own way, kind of regardless of kind of the trend. Now, there are things where you can learn from other games and other, trends in trading card games, and just gaming, tabletop gaming overall, even if it's not specifically cards. But Redemption is a unique thing, so it's outside of the box already. So this doesn't matter. So Classic never really got off the ground, and it being only supported at the local and district level, it was never going to go anywhere. Like, it just never had the chance. But it also, Classic kind of stinks, if we're going to be honest. If you, how do I say? If you just operate with the ban list that we currently have and apply that, and I know that I'm kind of talking about a little bit of what we know is coming with, Tyler's post, which we'll go over in just a moment. But it was so hard for it to get off the ground because it wasn't well supported at the higher tournament levels. It wasn't even ran at state or, at your regionals. Even if it was just not at nationals, there's not really a reason to play it. But then also, think about the environment. The rules have cleaned up a lot, but there's also some wonky things you can still do and whatnot. And I guess we'll find that out a little bit. But I think the fact that it's eventually going to be a fully supported category, and as you get these cards rotating out, someone's going to want to play a Priest of Zeus Nats promo, worker promo from 2019. They got the card; they're going to want to play it.
Yeah.
If it's not in the limited card pool. So there's going to be pull for some people to, play that naturally because they've got cards that go with. I think you're going to be able to attract older players that have stepped away from the game that still have older cards. They're going to be able to bring them back. And now there is some playability to it. We used to, like when a new player comes in, it feels bad to tell them, you've got, or returning player rather, that's been away for, 5-10 years. Yeah, all those old cards you got, they're useless. You're going to have to buy new. And we basically were at a point where we were telling them that, but now some of them might actually have, value in life.
Yeah, I mean, it's
not a ton, but
so little of them actually. Like, if I imagine modern decks that are classic decks are going to have maybe 5 or 6 scroll cards mixed in through
you're right, but I'm saying the aesthetic of telling them that their cards they're not supported in tournament play.
They're mostly bad. Most of them we'll never see in tournaments.
Yes, Jake, I know that. I'm trying to get my point across.
I'm sorry.
Open up your mind and get my point inside of it. That telling them though that, okay, this card, these cards that you have are pretty much worthless, as opposed to saying, yeah, you can play all of those in tournaments all the way up to nationals, but you might want to blend it with some newer cards. That's a lot better aesthetic to come across and tell them than, oh, you have to get new cards because those aren't even playable.
Yeah.
So I feel like the aesthetic is definitely improved. Now, I am curious about I feel like every 2 years, eventually we're going to get to a point, especially when you see how much they're rotating out the first year and then the second year, I'm almost worried a little bit that we might be rotating too fast.
Yeah, I wonder about that too.
It's going to, I feel like we're going to get to a point to where, and I know Tyler and Chris, like they were on the live stream and they're talking about stuff that they've got already in the works for the next set and all of that stuff. And I get that, and I'm glad that they're already working in advance, but I don't want to get into a position and again, I'm just a fan of this game. I don't have any authority in this game. I'm just a guy with a microphone that has a podcast going over this, but I have no bearing on, the direction of the game or anything. So take it, what I'm saying is just one player's opinion. But I don't want to see us get into a position where the volunteer leaders that are designing sets and things get put on such a tight clock to where it becomes stressful. And then you have the risk of burnout. And then you have potentially, the situation to where, somebody steps away and leaves a big hole and they can't fill that. and then you're not able to maintain the release schedule, and then all of this kind of creates a negative situation. So I do have some concerns about that, and that's one of the things that I think I would like to, have a chance to chat with like Tyler and Chris about that on a more deep level. And maybe we'll get some of those answers, at Nationals, because we are doing the elder address at Nationals. Maybe we can get a little bit of that, or maybe just in conversations and things, because I'm sure they have a plan. That's the one thing that they usually do. They have a plan when they announce changes like this.
I think that they will push off the rotation if they need to. I do agree, though. I think it should be tied to something rather than actual years, tied to release of sets or something instead, just to make it a little more clear. Like if there's a year with like, oh, we need to actually wait until next year for the set, like we're having this year. Like, I don't know. Like, I think it's just, like you said, we don't want them to be stressed out with having, oh, we got to get it out because rotation's happening. If there's rotations happens without having this new set out, it's going to be a really small rotation set. So, or limited set.
That's my one concern. And I had that concern instantly. As soon as I read it, I was like, whoa, because it says, and now granted, just to be clear, the first one is in August of 2027. So that means we're not rotating out after Nationals this year, but next year. So you will still get a full year of everything that's in the quote unquote now limited card pool will stay there until next year. And that's when it will start. But because there's just so much leaving at once there, and then in 2029, now granted that is 3 years from now, but in 2029 in August, 3 and some change, you lose Prophecies of Christ, Fall of Man, Prophecy of Christ, Lineage of Christ, Gospel of Christ. And you start thinking about that. Lineage of Christ, Gospel of Christ, Prophecy of Christ. I'm pretty sure those, well, I said those in the wrong order, so let me correct that. Prophecy of Christ, Lineage of Christ, Gospel of Christ, in that order, pretty sure was the largest set ever, the largest set ever, the largest set ever. So you're taking a...
Wait. Is it the largest set ever?
Yeah, I think so. I think each year it kept getting bigger.
No,
as the longest, or as the most cards in a set.
Yeah,
I'm open to being wrong if someone like our local historian Jay Chambers wants to call me out, but I believe that is the case. And so you're talking a wealth of cards that are just vanishing. A whole plethora of...
Bye-bye, Matthew.
Right. And it's cool to get rid of some of those cards, but then you start thinking about the cards within those that enable some of the other decks and things. And now, obviously, we're going to replace them with some stuff that's coming out, but I just worry if we're going to get into that. But I won't harp on it too much longer, because I want to get to this next one because it's cool too. And I'll go over this one. And this one was posted kind of in succession. They technically posted them at the same time, but I believe Tyler's came through first and then, John's came through first and then Tyler's. So this is from Tyler Stevens, also on April 10th. It says, we're excited to share with you some changes for the 26 to 2027 tournament season. And I want to take a time out here because I said this to Brian the other day. We've been having a lot of conversations back and forth because, preparing to host Nationals and things. So we've been talking. We talk a lot anyway, but I feel like we've been talking even more than normal this year because of all the stuff we're working on for Nationals. But I mentioned that I am so glad this came out. This is so much in advance. This feels like the proper way to do changes and things, to announce them. And the impact is not immediate. The impact for some of these is not even until April 2027, or August 2027, after Nationals. But in advance, as opposed to when the first rotation happened. Nationals just happened. It was Love at First Sight Mania. And they're like, yeah, we're going to errata that card. But you're not going to have to worry about anything really because pigs can't be played now because we're rotating, baby. Rotation. And then people probably heard me say it ad nauseum. I wish I had known that was going to be the last Nationals where I could have played like my King Noah deck. Mixing some of those older cards and stuff. I would have played that instead of Love at First Sight. And I felt regret because of the abrupt announcement. And then it's a sore subject for some in the community. I'm mostly past it now, but I'm still going to throw jabs at it because I really did want to one day work myself into being able to say that I made top cut and get to go through that bracket play at the end of Swiss rounds. You got to do that. And I feel like that it was such a fun experience getting to observe it from the outside. I can't imagine what it was like for you getting to go through that. But
it was really cool.
when they announced, and it was kind of like a secretive thing, they're like, "Oh yeah, Top Cut's gone away." It was kind of like an afterthought, like no communication to the community, no, it kind of came out in a bad way and things, and that really stuck with me for a while. The way that happened and the way that it was done, because it was, you know what I mean? Like, again, I'm just a guy. I'm just a fan. I don't have any control over the direction of the game. It just felt bad.
Don't want to be negative Nancy's, but that was something that really hurt.
I felt like that was the wrong way to handle that change. Even if you're going to make that decision, I don't agree with that decision. But again, it's leadership's prerogative to make that decision. But even if they make that, making that decision, I feel like just the way that it was handled was not great. Just getting that information to the community. It wasn't done in what felt like an open and transparent way. It was kind of just, oh yeah, by the way, that's gone.
Mm-hmm.
I love that they're doing this like this. So I want to say kudos to the leadership team I don't know if they necessarily took that as, took that in mind and was like, hey, let's make sure we get out in front of this well. I don't know if, that this would have been their plan anyway. But I see it as two contrasting things. I see something that I didn't like, that didn't sit with me well, and I see them, what looks like making sure that they're doing as much as they can to be out in front of things and not make it abrupt for the community. And I really want to say that I appreciate that, as again, just one guy. But anyway, we're excited to share some changes coming for the 26-27 tournament season. These changes will not take effect until after Nationals 2026. But we want to get the information to you now so players can begin to make preparations, because you got to go find all those old cards, baby. Dig through them to get those 5 or 6. We will now support 2 Type 1 2-player categories at all levels of tournaments. All levels. So that's local,
crazy.
District, state, regional, and nationals. I'm excited to see what the scheduling at nationals looks like. I wish it was happening this year so we could see it.
Yeah.
In the year that I'm kind of involved a little bit, but it'll be cool next year. Whoever gets the joy of figuring out how to schedule that. But Type 1 2-player limited. This is what we already kind of got a little bit of information from John with for cards and the legality. So you got limited and unlimited. And limited is what used to be rotation. We said that. And then unlimited is what used to be classic. So they're going to be supported. And then teams will undergo some adjustments, which are still being vetted by the Elder team. More details to come. I'm super curious about that. But then it says all Type 1 categories will have a deck size of 50 to 70 cards. And so it's kind of baked in here.
It's a bomb.
50 to 70 cards. Okay. And now Type 2 2-player will undergo some changes to simplify the deck building and make the format more accessible to players. I am a Type 2 hater. I'm proud to say I'm a Type 2 hater. I tried it once. Jeremy loaned me a deck and then proceeded to beat me. And it wasn't even close. It's 7-0. And I begged to scoop as soon as he made his first little combo play. I was like, nope, I can't do it. I just can't do it.
I'm going to go captured profit to captured profit to captured profit.
Okay. It wasn't welcoming to new players, and I think that really hurt the accessibility thing. So I'm glad that they're looking at it and potentially making it more accessible. The format will continue to use the limited card pool, so that's important. So it will only be limited. And then you have Type 1 that will have unlimited and limited. And then it says this format will allow 2 copies of a card per deck, regardless of brigade and type, except for dominance and lost souls, which are limited to 1 per deck. Decks will continue to require a balance of good and evil cards. So you maintain the deck balance with good, evil, and then neutral cards. But you have 2 copies. That's going to make it cheaper to get in. It's also going to cap some of the broken abilities where you could chain a bunch of stuff. But on top of that, you then have this other thing here. Type 2 decks will be between 100 and 140 cards.
This is good.
The reserve size will be increased from 15 to 20. So Type 1 is nice. 50 to 70. Type 2 is 100 to 140, which is literally double. And so the reserve is 10 in Type 1. It doesn't feel like these changes are arbitrary on their own. It feels like they fit in line with a sequence of Type 1. And then Type 2 can literally just be double your Type 1 apart from souls and dominance. And making sure things are balanced. I'm excited to actually give Type 2 a try.
No, it's going to be fun.
I legitimately am excited. And I'm also glad that the way that the 100-card decks in Type 1 have been getting built, those decks don't just have to go completely away. You just have to now construct them in a way to where they balance good and evil. And then you can roll them right into Type 2, and you get a bigger reserve. So it gives life to those decks, but it doesn't have a 50 card type 1 deck going up against a 100 card with double the resources. That just, it creates an imbalance there.
No, I think it's really good for the flow of the format.
Another thing here is, and Brian Jones I can hear him celebrating right now, experience credit will no longer be used in Type 2. No more little token counters and things all over the cards. Great. No pebble stones or anything like that. Sorry, Chris.
My pebbles.
But all constructed categories will support a unique ban list tailored to that category. This is something I've wanted for a long time, because some cards are bad for certain categories and then they're okay for others. And I also think we get limited on some card design aspects when the team is building sets and making new cards, because they have to make sure every card works for every set. Now they have the freedom to potentially develop and create a card that works great for Type 1 but might be broken in Type 2. We could just ban it in Type 2, or we can build a potentially like a card that's great in teams that, maybe works well in Type 2, but in Type 1 it becomes overbearing. I don't know what really fits that role, but the flexibility
is great in
there.
teams. Let's go. Come on.
But more details will be coming between now and August when these changes begin. We haven't gotten a lot of the more information, but I am hopeful that at Nationals we'll get some of that. And that is before August, so that would fit in with the timeline. We are doing the Elder Address there, and I'm excited about that. But between the rotation schedule, the format changes, it's safe to say the game is going to look completely different moving forward after Nationals this year. So when you take those and you package those all together, is your outlook of this extremely positive all around? Is it mostly positive? Is it you're kind of in the middle? Because I know we did talk about the one concern with the rotation schedule. Do you have any hesitations with this? And then what's your full package of the changes?
I'd say 85 to 90% positive. Like, it's really good. Like the Type 1 change where the deck size is limited between 50 and 70 is really good. Jay mentioned this in his podcast, but this is something I've been saying for a while. Like, the fact that you could actually get double the amount of cards in a 100-card deck is something that's just not seen in any other type of card game. Like, you can only use one of these unless you're running 100 cards. Then you can run 2 of these. You're like, wait, what? Like, that changes the math on everything. And honestly, like, when you're playing with a 100-card deck in Type 1 with a time limit and everything, and your opponent's playing with a 50-card deck, it just feels so cumbersome and stuff to like, let me shuffle everything together and like, come on, let's play the game. Like, no, I got to shuffle my cards. Like, it just, you're playing a different type of game when you're playing a 100-card deck than your opponent's playing a 50-card deck. So just stabilizing that, going down to 50 to 70 makes it a lot better. Like, yeah, you can go up to 70 if you want to. You can get a few more dominance, but you're not going to get extras of the main cards in the deck. So technically it's possible you might want to, 70 might become the meta. It's probably not going to happen. Like 95% sure it's not going to happen, but technically it's possible. Like, they could introduce so many good dominants that you're like, actually you need to play all 9 of them, but I don't think it's going to happen. So I like 50 to 70 cards. I like that Type 2 is just double. I do wish they allowed doubled souls. Like, I don't see a reason why that couldn't be a thing. Like, I think it's nice to have 2 humbles in your deck so you can actually
yeah, but then somebody gets double undesirables.
Yeah, well, no, like, find a way to negate them. Like, I'm just saying, like, if you have a souls that are important for your strategy, I think it's nice to have two of them, like, and obviously, yeah, they can double up their souls too. So you got to find ways to deal with what they got. But I think I do think that's sad. But overall, this is cool. Classic is going to be really fun. Being supported.
No, it's not. Stop it, Jake. Stop it. It's not classic. It's
unlimited.
Mr. Unlimited
classic. But yeah.
Classic gameplay
we
available in Unlimited.
I'm pulling up on near-term games, Heyman's plot, because that's going to be played again, because you can actually register that and just replace it after you tore it up. So you go to a tournament with your unlimited deck with your Heyman's plots.
Daddy Ahasaurus is going to grab your Heyman's plot and he's going to play it and rip it.
Yeah.
First block of the game, baby.
Yep.
Take out 3 characters.
Yeah.
You're going to rip it, and then you're just going to replace it for next game.
You're
and
replace
do
it. So that
over
means
and
you're going
over.
to So you're going to buy at least like 10 of these per tournament, and you're going to need to spend $30.50, at least the prices right now until the prices go up. Man, like if they're not printing more of these, like this might be an expensive card in the future. I don't know. Like if they don't ban it and if they don't print more of these, like it's going to become it's a resource.
I think it's honestly kind of one of those fun things. Like, I don't even know if you need to really play a card that you rip now with, a lot of other options and ways to make things CBN and things and getting access to all the older cards. But it's just fun, and it's kind of like the one thing about Redemption that's kind of like a nostalgic thing of pulling a card out of a sleeve and ripping it right there just to get the effect. It's kind of like, we said Redemption marches to the beat of its own drum.
Yeah.
Like, you're not getting that kind of gameplay anywhere else. No other game are you going and taking a card and ripping it, and if you do not rip it, then you do not get the effect.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you just, it's kind of wonky. I wouldn't necessarily say that I want to see it on new cards that get printed, but with, coming in after the fact and it not being a huge chase card or anything like that, kind of cool. And now we're going to get to see a little bit of life out of those cards.
I just read it. That actually says tear the card in half. If you don't do it precisely and it's not 50-50, does it not count?
Yeah.
If it's 30-70, like, Judge.
I jabbed J multiple times like that. It's got to be in half.
I think it's a 70-30 split on this one. Yep, that's right. That doesn't count. Then. Okay.
You don't get the ability.
I love it.
Yeah, they should make it to where if you don't rip it exactly in half, you can't replace it for the next game either. But one other thing I'll say about the ban list is part of the information. I did say that we hadn't got any more of the information for real, but we do actually. Because we know that next year for Unlimited is going to be the Wild, Wild West.
Wild, Wild West.
Yes. And I am so excited to tackle this topic, exclusively on another podcast to where we can, just, spend a lot of time talking about what decks are valid, the most valid in, Unlimited now, and like what we think that will turn into. This is probably something, we'll table until after Nationals. But, I mean, I think just these changes with Roots 2 coming out, the new set, hopefully by the end of the year, this is going to be the most non-dead period the game's ever had, I think.
Yeah.
And I'm excited for it. But knowing that you can play pretty much anything, I think Cloud of Witness Daniel is going to be the only card that is not banned.
Exactly.
Or I'm sorry, not unbanned, because it just... complete recursion of Son of God is a little broken. So take that. Now, I don't want to toot my own horn, so don't let me toot my own horn. But if you have ever tried to look at RNRS, brother, it is awful. Like, I love Rob, but it is awful. And I will share... I will share a little bit of the backstory. I actually reached out to Rob, and I hope he doesn't mind me sharing this, but I asked him, because as far as I know, there's nowhere, and there hasn't been while I've been playing this game, to where you can go and look up the Tennessee State tournament and see exactly where anybody placed, unless that host voluntarily puts it out, or someone like me or you go and reach out and try to get that information for sharing it here on the podcast, right? So I like to be a hub of information for tournaments and having transparency. I think we should have a way to see all results in a very transparent way, to know who won Arkansas State, for example, who won, Michigan State, and all of that in a way that it's not. I wish that there was infrastructure to where it wasn't up to, the host remembering that, whether they should share, their discretion or whatever. I wish it was just a given that all results would be posted somewhere. So I reached out to Rob and I was like, hey, do you think it would be possible? And I might have, it might be slightly out of bounds, but I feel like we've done enough with me hosting things that I didn't mind shooting him an email, and I don't think it came across the wrong way, but he answered it straight up, and he said that he is far too busy to try to curate a list of exactly each tournament and tie that back and then put it out along with the RNRS rankings. If he's a busy man, I can't tell him anything. Like, I made a request. If there was anything I could do to help make that happen, great. But I didn't think that there was an avenue to offer to do anything there with him, stating that, because I would have to get the data from him somehow. And if he's too busy to build it into a list, probably too busy to scan copies and, send them over or whatever, but anyway, so I was really bummed and discouraged. And then I decided to get productive. And I was like, okay, well, we've got at least RNRS rankings, and some people don't like them. Some people think they're watered down and things like that, but it's still nice to be able to look at them and see who won state tournaments throughout the year. You can pull up and, you can see who won regionals, but it's so hard to go. And I want to see how well Emmanuel did, E-Man. Because I'm thinking about maybe I'll draft him. I might take him with my second pick.
You gotta pick
my second
E-Man.
pick in the draft.
Yeah.
So, I want to go and look at that data, and it's just so hard with the Google Sheets being loaded into Rob's site to be able to parse that information and put it together. And it's just so difficult to try to track everything. So I ended up, using the power of AI, Claude, pulling that data, finding the source sheet from it, and thankfully it's just, if you have the source data, anyone can view it. So as Rob makes changes, it will update, and I was able to build a tool to look at RNRS. And then I don't remember if I reached out explicitly and mentioned it to Tim, but I thought it'd be a great addition to add to his site under tournaments. I think that's what I told him. If you want to do this, if not, and then I can find a way to post it somewhere else. But I like having everything under one roof. And Tim's site is almost like a central hub with everything you need for following redemption. And I love that. And so I made it and I sent it to him. So now you can actually go and look at RNRS rankings in a easy to sort way. It's going to show you if someone won multiple states, like Jaden, if I'm not mistaken, has already won 2 states this year. He doesn't get credit but for one, but it's important to know he won the second one. So that's all logged in there. And you can go and sort that, and you can kind of manipulate it a little bit to see different things. And you can easily see the categories across all. And Rob had all of the data for the last 3 seasons before this one. So I pulled all of that. So you got all of those seasons. And now as Rob updates that, it should automatically update. And then if we maintain that, think about 10 years from now, we have an actual catalog of all of this information to track and things. And I think that's important. And so even with my disappointment for kind of what we have and the lack of infrastructure, I feel like I kind of made the best of it by, approaching how could I take the data that we do have and make it as useful and easy to access as possible. So that's there on the tournaments tab in Redemption CCG app, and you can get to that and you can look at that. But there's also another thing that I did.
Yes.
And this kind of came from the RNRS thing too, because I was like, if it's important to have RNRS, it's also important to kind of know. We always want to know how well a player did, who's got the most titles, who's got the most like podium placings, which is placing first, second, or third across Nats. And we don't have full data. That we just don't. We have a lot of data, most data from 2003 forward, but we don't have a lot from before then. And then there's some stuff within 2003 to present now that we are missing. But of what we do have, you can now go and sort that, and there is a robust database under tournaments, and it's under tournaments, and I think he's got it titled History. And you can go and you can look up every nationals that there has been. There's even beautiful. 2026 is already on there. You can go and look at that. The fantasy draft, the last 2 years, you can click and find the results of the fantasy draft to see that your boy has won both of them. And I'll be coming for the Triple Crown this year. 3-peat. I don't believe new competition is going to take that away from me. Coming for the crown. But heavy is the crown. So, I might not make it, but it depends on what E-Man does. If I draft him, he's going to be the key, the linchpin to my strategy. I need him to put up 60 points across his category.
Hey, he's metal. He can do it.
Yeah. But I ended up taking all the data. John Early sent me all the stuff that he had through Covenant Games. I got a bunch of stuff from Jaden. Some of that was useful. Some of that was more, his personal experience with nationals. And then I was able to source and ask a bunch of questions in Discord. And over 2 days, it took me about 2 days to build this thing. And then it's live. And there's going to be things, like there might be, I caught so many different typos and things because it's free text in these forms over the years. There's going to be typos. There was a couple of ladies that changed names. It looked like they got married and stuff. So trying to merge those player profiles and things was a lot of work. And I'm sure there's some stuff that snuck through the crack, fell through the cracks and things. So there'll be, a cycle of, edits and things to continue to clean that up and stuff, I'm sure. But now that we have that and it's easy to maintain moving forward, I think those are two great tools, and both of them kind of came out of the same situation of, reaching out to Rob, getting a disappointing answer, and then trying to make the most of it, RNRS, and then that got me thinking about nationals. And Brian's always talking about, you should do a podcast and you talk about who the top 10 players of all time is. And I feel like I don't have any real information on that because I wasn't around. Well, now I have a lot of information. And it looks like Gabe Isbell is the GOAT. Let's go figure. And if you're talking about years with Top Cut, that's John Early.
When we look at the Hall of Champions, you got Jaden at the top of this. Like, this
already
thing is super cool.
Although I do believe that Justin does have at least one more from 2015. Some of the missing categories we had, I believe he won a multiplayer. Okay. And again, that's the thing. As we continue to get a little bit more information and patchwork, get it in, things might change slightly. But the fact that we have what is a living catalog, a database, it's cool. Go try your luck on the trivia. There's over 700 questions in that bad boy.
Crazy.
Now someone's going to get mad. It's going to come up. So I'll just go ahead and tell you, it's going to come up. Someone's going to get the question, what year was Nationals in Tennessee or in Knoxville, Tennessee? And it's going to have like 2019 and 2015 or whatever. 2 years that it was there.
And 2012.
Yeah, it's going to end up having multiple years. And you're going to select one that is right, but it's going to tell you it's wrong. Because that question, and I decided to just leave it alone because I thought it'd be kind of a cool quirk to get somebody raging. Like, I had a perfect score until this.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
When it decides that 2015, for example, is the answer it's looking for, it doesn't matter that 2019 also was in Knoxville. It's asking you for 2015, and you have no way to know, so it's really just kind of a trick question.
Classic AI stuff. Yeah. Oh, my goodness.
Are you looking at it right now?
I'm looking at it.
Who's on the leaderboard? Who's at the top?
So we're talking about which on the Hall of Champions is Jaden.
On the trivia. Trivia.
Let me see. On the trivia is Jaden there again.
Oh, he jumped me?
You're second. Yeah, you're second.
What did he get? I had 115. He had what?
Rob tied you at third with 115, and Jaden got 125. So, yeah.
Okay. Well, I had a perfect score a couple of different times in testing, but all that data was kind of erased each time because I wasn't necessarily saving it.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's super fun. It's interactive. The tell of the tape, you can go and pick two different players and see their side-by-side stats to compare. And I think that's really cool. And I did have a little hesitation with some of it because it's going to, like, poor Al and poor Ron. They've got a lot of losses logged on their record. And it kind of, you're going to get that. But I also think it's just important enough to have that data all be transparent, even though it might make someone potentially feel bad, if they don't have a great record or whatnot. I don't think that's worth not sharing that information in a full contextual way to where you can manipulate the data with advanced metrics and things. Like, you can go and look and see that Jaden has beaten Emmanuel at Nationals 11 times and lost 0. And that is the biggest spread for unique wins against the same player.
That's crazy.
And then John Early, Brian probably doesn't know this if he hasn't checked, but after we tweaked the teams thing, John Early now stands alone. It is no longer a tie for who has the most wins against unique opponents. It's now John Early at 112, and I believe Brian dropped down at least one because of the fixed teams that we had to implement this morning. So it's John Early has the most wins against unique players. But anyway, it's super fun. You can sort that data. It's all great. I love it.
That's crazy. This is amazing.
Yeah. And that took me like 2 days. And I mean, again, a lot of it was just getting the information from John Early, allowing me to even have the ability, because if you didn't have all of those older sheets, and they weren't accessible on his website because the links had been broken or whatever through his domain or whatever, but he was able to still, access them on his end. But apart from him providing that, I mean, we'd be dead in the water guessing at a lot of things, because even Jaden, who, love Jaden, I'm sure he crowdsourced it and got a lot of information from other people. But he had he had a listing of all the placement history from 2003 forward. And there was a couple of inaccuracies in his listing when compared to the real data, which is from the MC at Nationals, who's keeping up with round by round who played who. That's how we have all the head-to-head stats and things. So again, no knock on him, but if we were just going by that, we would have had some inaccuracies in some of the data there that thankfully having the full record helped us be able to correct. Anyway, that does give us a perfect transition, though, because I did tell you that 2026 is on there. So if you click on 2026, it's going to bring up some rudimentary details, like the fact that we are 27 days away. I know we're recording on Friday. I'm hoping to have it out by Monday. If I get lucky, if you guys get lucky, we'll have it out on Sunday. So I'm just going to go ahead and tell you. And so this is where you can check out a cool feature on the outline, Jake, because you can click the banner there that says 27 days to Nationals, Wilmore, Kentucky, Wilmore Free Methodist Church, July 23rd to 25th. And if you click it, it's going to bring up a little pop-up that's going to tell you that this is being hosted by Brian Jones, Stephen Coates, Jaden Alstead, and John Hendricks, which is fantastic. I'm enjoying being able to see it from this side, hosting Nationals. And we're hoping that it's the best Nationals ever. That's what we're shooting for. And if we don't quite make it, at least it's going to be an epic Nationals regardless. And then we're planning on starting each day at 8 a.m. I believe 8 a.m. will be, deck check and things. And then 9 o'clock is the start time. I don't really remember, and I probably shouldn't just be spouting that off, but I believe that's the way we're rocking and rolling. And then you have the category prices. It's $25 for sealed deck, $35 for booster. All other categories are $10.
Wow, that's awesome. Very exciting. I love this. And I like the little map here with the dot for Wilmore, Kentucky. It's really cool.
One thing that I will get in trouble if I do not say this, Brian he'll get me.
Oh, okay. What's going to happen?
There is a lunch registration form, and we were a little late getting this out there because we had to rely on some other people to get information and things and plan it out. But we have a registration form for lunch. Now, naturally, when you see that, it's kind of like Nationals. If I'm not going to Nationals, I don't need to register. This registration form is different. We are requesting that everyone log in to this form that is attending Nationals, of the people that are attending Nationals. And you either say, yes, I want to eat at the venue with the provided lunch at the price point, or you say no. And what that's going to tell us is how many people are actually planning on eating and how many are definitely going somewhere else. Because if we have a bunch of undecided, then that leaves that, the murky water of we want to have enough prepared in case people
have all the
want
undecided,
to. And obviously we're gonna have a little extra, but we don't want to overshoot that and waste money by having a bunch of extra that then it goes to waste as far as, coming out of the profit that might be going back to Oakdale for this event, because all proceeds, the above, paying for the cost of things is going to actually go into the school there where Brian and Stephen work. So if you have not done so, please go and do that. The deadline for that, or what we're shooting for, is by July 1st. So depending on when I get this out, there'll be just a couple of days. So please go and do that for me. Please. It'll get Brian to stop bugging everyone in the chat, in the channel for Nationals. But we've got some cool side events that are going to be happening. So, Jake, you want to take it away and tell us about this first one?
We have the Wednesday night kickoff here. It's going to start 7 p.m. worship service at the venue to begin the weekend with a time of worship and a brief message for those who would like to join. At 8 p.m., there's going to be an elder address. That's going to be a unique address from the elder team. It's going to be awesome. And following the elder address, the 2026 Redemption Nationals Fantasy Draft will take place live at the venue. Very awesome.
I'm super excited about this. I don't know if Brian, Jaden, I don't know if they came with plans to make Wednesday a big thing naturally on their own, or if it was the fact that we all came together and kind of had a little bit of idea of that. I believe it was Brian that mentioned trying to put together a band, since there's musicians and things within the community. And then since I've been part of Nationals, in Iowa is where I really, they announced at the end of the tournament there, the last day, they were like, we'll see you in Knoxville next year. And it was kind of cool knowing a year in advance And ever since then, it's kind of sat with me. Like, it'd be cool to have like a state of the game address or whatever, have, the elders talk about, like where the game is, what's the plans for kind of the next year and things, and just a little bit of transparency and conversation there. And obviously there's going to be things that, they don't want to share with us, and that's fine. But it'd be the things that is able to be shared are the things that are, let me not talk redneck, but the things that are able to be shared. It'd be kind of cool to have a time of, sharing that information. They always like to show spoilers from the future set or whatever, or future designs at Nationals, just to kind of tease the crowd a little bit. It'd be kind of cool to, just build all of this stuff into a big event there. And then obviously we've done the draft live and live streamed it on Jaden's channel the last 2 years. Obviously, it just felt natural if we're hosting to have it live at the venue. I think it'd be cool. And I don't know how many people are planning to be there. I hope a lot. But could you imagine getting called as the first overall pick in the fantasy draft and getting to nerd out and walk up there on stage?
Funny, man.
It's cool. It's cool.
That'd be amazing.
But obviously, we've got some other details about the fantasy draft that are now solidified and we can share. So this draft will be hosted by the Guardian, Justin Alstead, back for his 3rd year. He does great.
Let's go.
I'm trying to control all of our personalities. And somehow, I've been lucky enough to have him on my team both years. So me and Justin together are undefeated.
Undefeated.
Which that means I probably just told everybody to draft Justin and not let him get to me. So we'll see how that shakes out. But there's going to be 4 GMs drafting this year, as we've done in the past. It's going to be myself and Tyler returning. And then we're going to kick up the competitiveness because we're getting 2 of the most competitive players in the game, Josh Potratz and Brian Jones, to take the other 2 slots. So this by far should be the most competitive field of GMs that we've had. That's no knock on anyone else, but like Brian and Josh are on another level with competitiveness and things. I can tell you they've both probably been scouring over their stats on the Redemption Nationals database and seeing where they stack
They're trying to
up.
imitate what I did, for sure.
Well, often imitated, never duplicated. Wasn't that like an old beer commercial back in the day?
Something like that. Yeah, definitely.
Anyway, each day, the draft will consist of 9 rounds. So we've done 7 the past 2 years. We're going to expand it because we have so many players that have signed up to be eligible for the draft. So each day of the 9 that are drafted, 7 will actually count toward the score. We're going with the top 7. So that's going to give a built-in buffer. We did consider doing like a starting lineup and things, but that required meticulous tracking and trying to submit and make sure that you told somebody who was in your lineup. I felt like that was, in the end, after some conversation with Jaden and Brian, they kind of steered me in the right direction. That's getting overcomplicated. Even if it is more aligned with real like fantasy sports, we're trying to keep it simple to where it's easy to track and things. So what that does though is that a player that's only playing 1 or 2 days, instead of them being almost undraftable until you get toward the back end, if you have to take a player that isn't playing multiple categories, I can pick, say, Josh Potratz is only playing 1 or 2 days like he has the last couple of years. I can pick him and just know that one day he's going to be one of mine that doesn't count for whatever day he's not playing. I can do that.
This would help me out for sure.
Yeah, give you a couple of buffers built in. And more players get drafted, so more people get on the team. And that's cool because everyone that is chosen to elect and make themselves eligible for the draft is going to be entered in to a drawing for a box that will be given away, or at least announced, during the live draft, because the hope is that I'll be able to source some of the alternate border stuff that's releasing at Nats. But otherwise, it will just be a regular box that we give away. But hopefully we'll be able to get the new stuff, and that would be cool. And so at the draft, everybody that's eligible to be drafted, their name's going into a drawing, and we will pick. And someone that just said, hey, you can make me draftable, that's fine, and they are going to win a box.
That's
also
awesome.
During the day 3 award ceremony, we'll announce the winner of the fantasy draft, which we really haven't done a great job of making that a point on the last day because we haven't done a great job tracking it to have the score super handy. But we're gonna do a little bit better this year. But everybody that's on the winning team and the winning GM, sans myself, I won't win it myself. I'll take myself out.
Very kind of you.
But yeah, because I assume I'm going to win. I just want to pass it on to my team that's going to help me out. But everybody that's on the team that wins, even the 2 that don't count per day or whatever, however that shakes out, all 9 plus the GM. So you're going to have a 10% odd if you're on the winning team of walking
That's
away with a box.
awesome.
So if you make yourself eligible, you could win a box. And then if you're on the team that wins, you can win a box. And you could be the same person that wins both boxes. You could.
That's incredible.
It could happen, you know? So I'm excited about that. I think we have plans to make this the best fantasy draft that we've had. I think being live at the venue is going to be awesome. The next thing we have here is Iron Man. This is, kind of a classic side event. It seems to always be at Nationals. The last few years, Andy has graciously hosted that, and it's been sponsored by Your Turn Games. So now it's easier than ever to participate because any game against any other Ironman competitor counts for the contest. That means whether it's played during the national tournament official gameplay, if it's in the Paragon side event, which we're about to talk about, if it's a pickup game, it doesn't matter. If you play against them and you have your tokens and they have their tokens, that game counts. Whether they want it to or not, it does. It used to be that you had to go and seek out all of these games and your normal games didn't play or didn't matter.
Didn't count.
But because you're counting those games now, it allows people that, even if they're not able to go and source out games after the categories have played and things for the day, you can still technically have a chance to win. So it's easier than ever to compete.
Definitely.
And then the prizes are also better than ever because there's Your Turn game gift cards. Man, I love Andy. I love Andy and Kelsey. They stay giving stuff away.
Yep.
And he could have just awarded whoever won. He could have awarded the first 3 places, but he is giving gift cards for up to the top 7 places and as much as $125 depending on the number of participants.
Incredible.
So the more people that sign up, the more people participate, the more rewards that are going to be on the line for those that place in the top 7.
That's amazing.
Not only that, Jake.
Yeah.
If that's not good enough, when you sign up, you're going to get a free booster pack. How much is a booster pack? $5. It costs $10 to sign up, I believe it is. You're going to get a $5 booster pack.
Okay, but that's it. There's no other bonuses. That's good enough.
Whoa, wait a second.
Wait, what? There's more?
But wait, there's more.
Oh, my
Billy
goodness.
Mays, baby. Billy Mays. Billy Mays and Andy Willamays. You got a 10% coupon off your next Your Turn Games purchase as soon as you complete your registration. So if you're going to Nationals, complete your registration right now. Get a 10% off coupon. Order your cards. Tell Andy you want to pick them up at Nationals. He will put them in your hand 10% off. So that's you can't beat that. Pre-registration is now live.
Man.
It is in the National Tournament channel. If you need help finding that or sourcing that, you can reach out to Andy directly. You can reach out to anyone on the host team. We will make sure that you get that information. But Ironman should be one of the best years it's ever been because of the accessibility now. We're talking about these new formats and things, making the game more accessible. How much more accessible can you get than any game you play across the entire weekend is going to count, as long as that other player is in that game?
I mean, Iron Man keeps getting better every movie. He keeps on upgrading his armor. This is like the bleeding edge armor version of him.
This is like Iron Man right before Thanos snapped his fingers.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm sorry. Then we got Paragon. You wanna talk to us about Paragon, sir?
I do. This is gonna be Kurt Hake's event, and Kurt just smashed me in LGP. Anyways, 7:30 exact time is tentative. But the Paragon multiplayer side event organized by Kurt. The fan-made unofficial. We're talking about the fan-made unofficial category here. It's supposed to be a casual,
the not yet official category.
Exactly.
Let's just say it.
Accessible format for 2 to 5 players. Pre-built decks are available on Your Turn Games, or you can build your own. And depending on the number of participants, each game's going to have 3 or 4 players. The plan is to play 2 rounds. But this is the first time something like this is happening. They reserve the right to change this if the start time ends up very different than expected. All players should complete the first round will receive a free Paragon intro pack containing a complete soul deck and 14 Paragons. The second round is
Did you hear that?
Yeah,
free.
Let's go.
Free. Now, I guess free. I guess is it really free? Is it really free? You have to spend some of your time. Time is money, right? You have to spend some time. You have to go and register.
You have to enjoy.
You have to go and fill out a Google form that says, "Hey, I'm going to play in this contest," and then you get entered to win that $100 gift card from Your Turn Games.
Let's go.
Then, which by way of podcast and our celebration for hitting 100 episodes, great.
Mm-hmm.
But then you're going to get that pack. What do you have to lose?
Mm-hmm.
You just have to play the first round to get that. Everybody that completes the first round. So don't get in there and then quit. You're almost to your pack.
You gotta go.
And that's going to have the full soul deck printed, hard copies like normal cards, instead of, printing out the paper form or whatever. And also, it's super accessible because all you need to do is have your Paragon deck. You don't have to have your own Lost Soul deck because each table is already going to have one provided by Kurt.
That's awesome.
At the tournament. So when you get those new cards afterwards, just slide that baby in your pocket. You take those home with you. You don't need them to play the games there.
Crazy.
So all you need is a deck. Decks are on sale for $75 at Your Turn Games. You can go pick out several different ones he's got. If I were you, I'd pick one of these that have the 14 Paragons. All that information is available on Discord, I believe, in the either unofficial channel or maybe in the Nats channel. I'm sure it's also on Land of Redemption. But I would pick one of those. But I'm excited to try out Paragon and actually see. I think this is going to be a huge boost for it, or it might be a bumpy road per se, because, we might find some hiccups and things, but that's the great thing about testing. It's kind of like beta testing something like the Nats database that I built. Like, there's going to be things that need to be fixed.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
That's just kind of the way it goes with any project or anything that you build. So we're going to get a lot more eyes on it at Nationals. Hopefully it goes smooth, but I'm sure there will be things that come out of that on things that we can refine and improve on it. Plus, it'll just help get it out there a little bit more. People will have experience, and then maybe they'll go back home and they'll be like, this is actually a fun category. I remember playing it at Nationals. Let's try it. And then maybe I'm hopeful that it'll spread kind of like wildfire. Especially because I feel like it's easier for a small group, especially if you have kids.
Mm-hmm,
if you can just build these Paragon decks and you sit down, it gives a more casual feel to the game.
Yeah.
Plus, you're kind of teaching, and you can have 4 players around you that you're impacting right there. And it's not a super, it's not like you got to make these moves on your own without. It's just the casual feel of it. I think is great, and I'm excited about it.
So you think this is going to do really well in California, you're saying, in their local group there?
I think it's already doing great.
Well, I'm saying because it's Wildfire, and Wildfire does really well in California.
No.
I'm sorry.
That's bad on your part. A bad
That's
joke,
bad on my part.
Whatever. No, let's move on.
Let's turn our attention to the most recent tournament results and see where players have stacked up since our last episode.
Okay, disclaimer. We'll throw it out there. That thing said the most recent tournament results. Baby, we ain't got we do have recent, but we got some way not recent too. So we're going to kick it all the way back to, way back, because anybody that takes the time to go to a tournament and, crafts their deck, works at it, tries to tweak things, and does well at a tournament, and I have the chance to shout them out on the podcast, because I feel like a vibrant tournament scene is the highway to growth for this game. It's the pathway to grow in our game, because this is where we go and interact. We see it a lot more nowadays, people willing to travel to these tournaments, state and regional level tournaments. So anybody that participated and did well at that, I want to showcase that if I have the opportunity. So we've got, let me count them, 6, 8 tournaments to go over. And I'm pretty sure that every regional except for Southeast and North Central Regional is going to be included here. So this is going to be a lot to go over. So I'm going to go ahead and kick us off with the Northeast Regional Tournament. And that was hosted by Emmanuel Echevarria in Willimantic, Connecticut. And I'll leave you guessing for a little bit. We'll start with teams. We'll start on the backside. We'll talk about teams where the Hull brothers teamed up. That's Benjamin Hull, and Luke Hull. And they took first, and they beat the father-son duo of Mark Valake and Anthony Valake. Team Genesis, what are you doing, man? And then Emmanuel came in third with his longtime partner in crime, John Michelesian, Faith Raider. In sealed, Joe Roberts took that. Charles Loria got second, and Rob Mouillet. I really don't know. I probably murdered that. I told Jake on the outline here, we're going to get a little icon where we can click and bring up a player profile, and it has pronunciation. So this is the reason I always call him Rob M, but hopefully I didn't butcher it too bad. And then in Booster, kind of ironic because he put out that little primer for Booster trying to make, it was a little short video to explain to people what Booster is and how it's played. But in first is Jason Ricci.
Mm-hmm.
And then second is Charles Loria, Three Lions Gaming's new owner.
Let's
And
go.
in third is Mark Valake. I would also like to say that I believe this tournament was 20-plus players. Obviously, not everybody played every category, but I believe Type 1 was over 20 players. So I feel like this is a very impactful because we didn't have as big of a Kentucky tournament this year. This may be the biggest tournament that we have this season apart from Nationals. I don't know what the exact attendance was, but it was up there. For Type 2, without surprising anyone, Emmanuel Echevarria. And then Joe Roberts in second. My boy Mark Valake holding down the third place spot again. But you know what? He would not hold down third place.
No, he would not. He didn't
in
want
Type
to.
1. Mark Valake in a fantastic field as far as volume and some quality players here took first place.
Number one.
Team Genesis. I mean, it's already showing. Genesis to the top, baby. In second, you've got Rex like Dino. I'm always going to make that joke because I don't know. I grew up watching Little Flintstones. I don't know. Is it Dino? Is it Dino? I don't know. But then you have Ben Hull in third. So Mark Valake, Micah Rex, and Ben Hull in the flagship category of Type 1 there. So that was the Northeast Regional Tournament. So congratulations to the winners.
I'll go to Tennessee State here. So, Knoxville, Tennessee. We'll start with teams again. Sean Sievers and Brandon Wade took it down at first place. Very good. Second place, the Hendricks clan.
Boo!
Woo, yeah, Hendricks clan. Let's go. Sealed, we have Chris Fashman taking first, Tate Hunter on second, and Luke Anderson on third. And booster, Sean Sievers, Luke Anderson, and Philip Anderson, first, second, and third, respectively. Type 2 two-player, Chris Fashman and Luke Anderson were first and second. Very nice. And finally, the most important, the
flagship category.
The flagship category, Type 1 two-player, Sean Sievers taking it down in first place, followed by Keegan, let's go. And then Philip Anderson in third. Very awesome for Tennessee State there. Yep. Thank you, Chris.
Yep, that was fun. I remember I wasn't able to make it because of Keegan's baseball on the Friday. So we literally drove up there just to do the one day and then head home. And it was worth it. It's always worth it to hang out with those guys. So you went to the right. I'm not sure if these were supposed to go down and then over. I have no idea. Know. I put them all in.
Yeah.
I don't have dates, so we're just all over the place. But I'm going to continue to the right here. We're going to talk about Iowa State, and that was hosted by Gabe Isbell there in North Liberty, Iowa. And we'll go with teams again. We had two teams participating, and we got the Fortress. That's Jaden Alstead and Justin Alstead. They came in first, and their opponent, who came in second, was Sean and Kai Murphy.
Nice.
In sealed, we had Gabe Isbell and Asher Isbell, with Gabe coming out on top and Asher coming second there. And then in booster draft, the one, the only, hopefully getting drafted to my team again this year, the Guardian, Justin Alstead came in first place. Joe Andrighetti came in second, and third was Sean Murphy. In Type 2 two-player, only had two players, but if you're gonna only have two players,
this is what you want to have.
This two players you might want to have. You have Jaden Alstead and Gabe Isbell duking it out, and to no one's surprise, Jaden Alstead, he's fine-tuned with Type 2 lately.
Yeah,
he came out first, so Gabe got second there. And then in the flagship category, we're just going to have to say that now. We're going to have to write it in to the script. In first place was Jaden Alstead again. Justin Alstead came in second. And then in third was Sean Murphy.
Very nice.
I will say that Justin did reach out to me and share some of some details about a couple of tournaments, and he was petitioning to get himself back onto the power rankings after we dropped him last time. And I mean, he had a couple of good finishes there, so we'll have to keep an eye on that as we move through the rest of these results. You want to take it away?
Yeah. Minnesota State, hosted by Justin Alstead at White Bear Lake, Minnesota. Oh, don't you know Minnesota? Anyways, teams, Jaden Alstead and Maxwell Graff took first, and this was a bit of a sibling rivalry here because in second, it was John Early and Nehemiah Graff. So the Graff brothers were not on the same team. They were splitting up trying to fight each other there. So that's pretty awesome here. Sealed event, we had Justin Elsa taking first, John Early taking second, and Nehemiah Graff, we see him again, taking third there. Booster draft, we have Britta Maley at first.
Molly.
Yeah, Molly at first.
I've heard the name Tim Molly enough that it's Molly. I feel confident in that one.
Josh Nitt in second, and Bill Voigt in third. Type 2 2-player, Justin Alstead, John Early, again, another 2-player event. Again, 2 titans of the game, duking it out there. Very cool. And finally, our flagship category, Type 1 2-player. And we'll go reverse this time just to build up the tension here. Third place for Martin Miller. Very awesome. Second, Maxwell Graff. Looking like the Graff brothers are splitting up these wins here. And finally, in first place, you know him, you love him, or hate him, Jaden Alstead.
I'm going to draft him. It's the man, the myth, the legend.
The man, the myth, the legend.
He's the leader in the Hall of Champions right now,
Yep.
Jaden Alstead. But yeah, maybe we should have been doing that the whole time. Maybe we should just change up on the fly right now. Maybe we should start going third place up.
Okay, that sounds good.
Maybe.
At least for the flagship category, for sure.
Yeah. At East Central Regional, there wasn't enough interest at the time to get teams in, so we don't have results for that. But in Sealed, coming in at third is one of them, Witch Anderson. It's going to be Philip Anderson.
Let's go.
The Anderson brothers. And in second, it's going to be the other. That's going to be Luke Anderson. And in first, always dangerous in the limited categories, is Chris Fashman. And in booster, coming in third, it's an Anderson brother. Which one is it? This time it's Luke Anderson in third. And in second, we've got the other. We've got Philip Anderson.
Okay, I feel like we need, what's the guy? What's the name of the, who is Elrond in the Matrix?
I don't know.
Whatever his name is, I don't know the name of the guy. Mr. Anderson. We just need that sound clip here for all of these victories.
And then in first place for booster is a rare sighting. We don't see this very often in the tournament season, but we've got Jonathan Gomez.
Nice. Let's go.
Jonathan Gomez sighting. So type 2 2-player. This is a two-player event. And so it is one of the Anderson brothers duking it out with Mr. Fashman. And the Anderson brother is going to be Luke, and he's going to come up just short. He's going to be second. That's going to make Chris Fashman the winner of Type 2 2-player. And now for the flagship category. Everyone's dying to know. In third place.
Yes.
It's an Anderson brother. Did you feel that coming?
Mr. Anderson.
It is going to be Mr. Philip Anderson in
Very
third.
Nice.
But wait, where is second place? It doesn't exist.
Doesn't exist.
Second place doesn't exist because it got ate up because there was a tie at the top.
Whoa.
Featuring the other Anderson brother. This is Luke Anderson.
Let's go.
This is Luke Anderson tying with the wild sighting of the untamed but lovely Jonathan Gomez. And Jonathan Gomez and Luke Anderson tied for first there. Philip Anderson coming in third. That is the East Central Regional hosted by Chris Fashman there in Knoxville, Tennessee.
There we go. Moving on to Midwest Regionals. Jay Chambers from Litchfield, Michigan. Michigan? Is it? Minnesota. Michigan.
Yep, Michigan.
I always, those abbreviations. They're hard for me. Anyways, here's some hot takes from Michigan. Booster draft. Caden LaFountain taking third, followed by Dylan Thomas in second, and finally Chris Hill in first. Again, we only had 3 categories reported here from Litchfield. So we're going to 2-player, type 2 2-player. Third place, Jay Chambers. Second place, Caden LaFountain. And first place, let's hear it, Ron Sias.
Yeah, he's got to have like some really cool nickname. We got to come up with a cool nickname for Ron.
Yeah.
I don't know what it would be. But whatever it's going to be, we're going to have to figure it out quick.
Ron. What do we do with Ron? Ron's a great name. What do you do? I don't know. Anyways, our flagship category, third place. He's back. Ron Sias. Fantastic. Second place.
That felt a little flat. You got to do it again. Ronald Sias.
Ronald Sias. Second place, Caden LaFountain taking it. And finally, in first place, Litchfield is his territory. He's bringing us the hot takes. Of course, it's Jay Chambers in first.
Yes. I would like to make one clarification here because he did specify. I'd just like to say Jay wanted everyone to know that he followed it by the book. He had someone else judge the categories.
Nice.
So I'm just saying he did. When I asked him for the results, he was like, and I did have the proper judging going on and all of that. So there you go. So that was Midwest Regional, and that's going to bring us to another regional. Our next 2 tournaments, these are the last 2 we have, but they are both regional tournaments. This is going to be the South Central Regional, which was hosted by Jamie Collar, who you might know from Nationals 2025 fame in Rogers, Arkansas. And we're going to start with the teams category where we filled up the sheet. We had 3 teams competing at least, maybe more than that, but we have all 3 placings here. And in third is going to be Zane Brooks, and I'm going to mess it up. I already know. But Max Karceric?
I think it's Karceric.
I gave it my best. I gave it the old college try. And in second is Mr. Liam Collar and Jonathan Underwood, which brings us to first place. No doubt about it. These guys have been doing well together as a team the last couple of years, but it's Stephen Brooks and Mark Underwood. So those guys came in first. It's going to bring us over to sealed, where Zeke Brooks came in third. Jonathan Steckman came in second. And first was Jacob Arrowwood.
Very nice.
I believe it's worth noting also for this category, Booster, coming up, that Booster here is where we had the epic pool that was mentioned last episode when we did the live stream for episode 100 where double foils were pulled. One of them was kept by Liam, and then the other one was passed to Jacob Arrowwood.
That's amazing.
So this is the category. So we'll see if either one of those came up in the placings to see if those ultra rares helped them. But third was the undeniable GOAT of rulings, Marcus Parker.
Let's go.
And then in second was Jacob Arrowwood, who got past the second foil. And then first was Joe Schaefer.
This is a judge's event here.
Yes.
Let's go.
Type 2 2-player. Now, we only had 2 players here.
Okay.
But I'm sure it was fierce competition among friends here as Jamie Collar and Stephen Brooks went toe-to-toe. And coming out on top was Stephen Brooks, who continues his hot season heading to Nationals. A prime draft candidate.
That is
based on his body of work this season. But third place for our flagship category is none other than the host of this event, Jamie Collar. And then in second is Jacob Arrowwood.
Nice.
And in first, again, continuing that body of work this season, Stephen Brooks.
And if
you want to go and see how that body of work has turned out, he is the leader, I believe, in Type 1, and he's up there in Type 2 as well on the leaderboard for RNRS, which you can go and check out on Redemption CCG app. Do you like that little force plug?
I do. I love the force plug.
Well, take it away here, sir. No wildfires this time.
Southwest Regional, hosted by Kurt Hake in Arcadia, California. We're starting off with teams here. Philip Mata and Josh Martinez take third place. Second place, the Kramer brothers, Ron and Scott Kramer. Always doing their dance, always coming over and bugging Jerry, just talking about stuff. Anyways, the Kramer brothers take second.
Do you know they're brothers?
No, actually, they may not be, but I'm
assuming
they are.
I feel like there's a good chance they might be father-son.
Oh, they could be father-son. You're right.
I know. I know actually, there is a father-son pair.
There's a good chance they're also brothers in Christ, though. So
I can keep. Look at you saving it.
Look at that. Look at that. Saved by the blood. Amen. Amen. First place. Brian Hake and Kurt Hake taking first place. Hake brothers taking it down for teams.
No, Hake brothers in Christ, but that's definitely a father-son.
See, you know, they're brothers in Christ. I'm just viewing.
The only way I know that is because you missed the episode where we had Kurt on.
Yes, but I listened to that. I just don't remember everything. Yeah. Anyways, back on track here. Sealed. We got more Hakes coming up here. Third place, Kurt Hake. Second place, Brian Hake. First place, Philip Mata. Philip Mata's doing some good work here. Booster draft. Third place, Scott Kramer. Second place, Kurt Hake. And first place, I'm hearing something from the. Is that the jungle? Tim Estes. Baboony Tim taking down first place. Type 2 2-player. Looks like we had more than 2 players in this category. Third place, Scott Kramer. Second place, brother in Christ, Ron Kramer. In first place. I hear the chatter. I hear it.
Watch out for that tree.
Watch out for that tree. Baboony 10 swinging in here. First place.
George
of the
Jungle.
Baboony,
I loved that movie as a kid.
Okay. So our flagship category in Arcadia, California. There's a lot of big names here. There's a lot of pressure. Let's see what happens. Third place, Josh Martinez. Very good. Second place, you know him, you love him, Kurt Hake, taking it down. And first place, he's no longer a baboon. He's a gorilla. He's the gorilla in the room. Tim Estes, Baboony Tim, taking down first.
Yeah,
very nice.
That looked like a clean sweep of categories there at the top row of our results here.
Yep.
So he won booster, type 2, and type 1 2-player. So fantastic. Now, another thing that I've got here that's really super cool is the fact that we can easily spotlight some tournaments, but this is kind of awkward. You know why it's awkward, Jake?
Why is it awkward?
Because we're recording this on Friday for release on Sunday, potentially. If not, it'll be on Monday. These tournaments are on the 27th, so I'm going to tell you about them, but by the time you listen to this episode, they will have already happened, and you can feel like we're like masterminds of time. We're in the Matrix and all of that, maybe. But I'm just going to go ahead and shout them out because I'm expecting to see some cool results from these tournaments because I do know at least this first one, which is going to be the North Central Regional Tournament. I'm looking to see how it shakes up between the Allsteads and some of the other competition that they usually have in that area. And I believe Gabe said he had people traveling from at least 4 different states to play in this tournament, which is kind of cool. But that's going to be in North Liberty, Iowa, there at Grace Community Church. That's the same church where Nationals has been held and hosted by Gabe Isbell. You know, if you hear this, you can always go back in time and just go, you know. Or if you're hearing this, it's kind of like, man, why didn't I make it up there? I could have. But I'm also wanted to spotlight the fact that we're having the Ohio State Tournament. I don't believe there was one the past at least couple of years, but this is going to be hosted by Luke Marshall at Mount Shiloh Baptist Church. So by the time you're hearing this, they will have cut it up there at Mount Shiloh, and hopefully we'll have some fun results. I did see a picture where he posted that he had gotten ready for the tournament and his son had helped him, and it was kind of a wholesome thing because I remember when my son used to help me with stuff. Now he's a teenager and he's a brat, so he doesn't. But nice seeing a kid helping his dad. But I can guarantee you, no matter where you're at, the last tournament that will happen before Nationals, as far as a big tournament, I don't know that there'll be any local or districts afterwards. But if you want to get one last chance to, throw down and it's time to duel. You can duel in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, hosted by your boy, me, John Hendricks,
me,
not John Early. This is the Southeast Regional. This is my first time hosting the regional here. Usually Jeremy handles that, but it got passed off this year, and I'm happy to do it. We're going to be doing this at my church at Tuscaloosa First Assembly. That's going to be right off the interstate. It's like literally you cannot. It's literally like 2 minutes off the interstate. So if you're traveling, it's super easy to get to the church. We have some overnight accommodations. We have one shower in the church. People will be able to use that. So if you want to, you can come. We can give you a place to lodge. You can hang out with us, get a shower the next morning if you want. I'm not going to judge you either way because it's only a 2-day thing. If you stink, we'll get the categories done and then you can go. And then hopefully you get a shower somewhere else. Hygiene is important. But, I mean, if you're going to have to stink to come and boost our numbers, I'm okay with you stinking for a little bit. It's only one day. I can deal with it. But we're going to be doing this on Friday and then Saturday, July 10th and 11th. Now, there is no door fee, but there is a $5 per category charge for the constructed category. So that's type 1 2-player, type 1 teams, type 2 2-player. Then closed deck is going to be $12, and booster draft is going to be $25. We're planning on starting at 6 p.m. on Friday. Doors will open at 5 p.m. and then 9 a.m. Saturday. Deck check and stuff starting, I think, around 8. I tried to plan out a schedule and try to be a little bit more professional with my hosting this time around. Hopefully attracting some few other people, but I don't know. We'll see how it goes.
And now, it's time to find out where the hottest players in the game stack up in this week's Power Rankings. This is the top 10 redemption players right now, according to us.
According to us.
According to us. You can't let it go unstated. And Jake,
no.
I feel bad because you didn't even have much say in these rankings.
No, it's okay.
I just kind of pulled them out of thin air.
I back them up. This is according to me, too.
One thing I will say, which is cool, is a while back I used to make a graphic for these rankings, and it was posted on Land of Redemption. And I'm not sure where all it might get posted. But one of the things when I built this outline tool, you can't really see it here, but if you go into the editor mode, which you have access to, I don't know if you know that, but you can actually generate an image that has all of these rankings with our Threshing Floor header, sponsored by Your Turn Games at the bottom. It's kind of cool. And it even has, if a player has a team affiliation, it has their team's logo on the line with their name. So it tells their name, their handle, their region, and then you have their team affiliation and then the plus minus delta or whatever for the changes from the last rankings. So we're going to go ahead and start right here.
10.
At number 10, now this is someone that I think no one would doubt or question me if I said that I thought that they had a legit chance and I thought they were going to be the person to win nationals. We don't usually get to put him on the power rankings too often because he hasn't been super active the last couple of tournament seasons or whatever, enough to consistently be on the rankings, but easily one of the best players. And the fact that he just decided to embrace 100-card decks, at least for the last Lucky Grand Prix, even though he might not have the official tournament results this season, it's according to us. I thought this guy equipped with a 100-card deck and embracing that as opposed to being against it is kind of a dangerous combination. And I really think if he embraces that and plays at Nationals with a 100-card deck, he could be a dark horse to win Nationals.
Interesting.
So I'm going to go ahead and say it right here. We've got Kevin the Dude. This is Josh Potratz at number 10.
9.
At number 9, Allstead Power coming through with Justin Allstad.
Please let me draft him. Please.
8.
At number 8, this is a guy, he moved up one spot from the last time, coming in second at the biggest regional tournament. Really thought that he deserved to move up a little bit. Could have even seen him move up more, but this is where we found a spot for him. This is Rex like Dino. This is Micah Rex. So congratulations, Micah. You're number 8 in the power rankings.
7.
Holding on here, dropping 2 spaces, but the roots are strong, my lord. Chad France, see the tree, holding tight.
6.
And at number 6, this guy at one point was the guy. I thought he was the guy. I spotlighted him earlier. Another guy I would love to have on my team at Nationals. I'm really thinking about the draft lately. I don't know if you guys can tell. I would not be upset taking this guy in the second round. Maybe I get lucky and he slides to the third and I can get a steal out of him. But this is Emmanuel Echevarria, who has had a fantastic season, especially in the Type 2 realm, but I fully expect him to do well at Nationals. But for his body of work, especially in Type 2 this year, we've got him right here, positioned at number 6.
5.
You know him? He's doing some rising. He's putting some big results in. At the same time, he's falling back a little bit on the list. Number 5 has Aiden Reisenbigler.
Aiden has definitely put together a strong season, so It's kind of fun. As much as we've seen Chad do well over the last couple of years, and he's talked about this kid a few times, and him getting better. He's come to Nationals a couple of times. It's kind of fun to be able to put the power rankings together, and you've got Chad, and then 2 spots ahead of him, holding strong, staying ahead of him is one of his proteges. And Chad reached out in the Discord and was talking about the next generation of players, and you're getting to see it right here play out with him being ahead of. Sometimes the Padawan becomes the Jedi.
Yes.
So I don't know if that's happening, but it's kind of fun to see the little dynamics at play.
4.
At number 4, this is a brand new entry on the power rankings list. Now, generally, we're not going to shoot someone all the way up the rankings this high just from one tournament per se, but I think you also have a body of work this season. If you look at that. I also know the caliber of player he is. I still give him a little bit of credit for beating John Early way back in the day as the wild card in Mr. Classic, the first one. That's just a jab at John, but we've got Mark Valake representing Team Genesis, winning the biggest tournament potentially outside of Nationals this year. I think goes a long way, but also, he's done well across other categories at all levels of tournament up to, regionals here. So I definitely think he's well deserved to be here. Now I am curious. I am curious because Josh, if I remember correctly, Josh Potratz is the only. No, I'm sorry, Chad. I should have put more thought into this or had the graphic pulled up. So you've got Josh Potratz at 10, Chad France at 7. Those are representing Dragon Raid. But you got Mark representing Genesis all the way in 4th. And there's at least one more Genesis player here. So I know we're talking about the hype of team versus team at Nationals.
That's good.
The power rankings are starting to show which team might be better.
Oh, man. Like,
I don't know.
I know you can edit this, put the tags in there, but if you can put tags in here for the teams, that'd be easier to. Ooh, that'd be really cool. I like that.
Oh, have it on here.
Yeah.
I should do that. Yeah.
That'd be really cool.
Dude, I can edit anything.
Man, with AI, we can do anything. It doesn't matter. Just use all the water in the world. We got this, man.
We'll make new water. We'll write
we'll
code
make
for
new
it.
water. AI will show us how.
3.
Number 3. Speaking of water, sometimes these streams collect and these brooks collect into a raging river of redemption, destruction, and victory. And Stephen Brooks shooting up 3 spots to take number 3 on a nice body of work. This guy is an overflowing as a deluge
Dude,
coming out of this brooks.
You gotta stop. I don't know where these analogies are gonna stop, but you missed the boat.
Oh, sorry, I don't want to flood you with water puns, man. I was just like, I'm just drowning. My mind is drowning.
Anyone that questions Stephen Brooks can go and look at the RNRS tool that we just debuted on the Redemption app. And I'm telling you, dude is at the top of just about every category.
And he's just awesome too. He's always good to have a tournament.
Yes.
His family's great. He's a great guy.
Yep.
2.
At number two could easily be moved up potentially. Yeah, I mean, that's the call of the wild right there, baby. He's got it resonating deep inside. He is the wildest baboon that I know. We've got Tim Estes here, representing also Team Genesis. So they got 2 in the top 4. Wow. I'm just saying, I'm just analyzing as I go. So that'll be all I say, but Team Genesis they're rocking out.
1.
Number 1, jumping 2 spots from the last power rankings. He's feared. He's a myth. He's a legend. He's got a girlfriend named Emma. We have Jaden Alstead taking number 1.
I think Emma is actually the secret weapon that pushed him over Tim.
Yes.
Because Tim easily could have been 1. And I don't know why I just gravitated. I was like, well, he's won 2 states.
The comedic snark fuels him.
He won 2 states. That's got to be better than Tim winning Type 1, Type 2, and Booster at a regional, and then also having won the state not too long ago there as well, right?
I agree.
So when you add them up together, Emma might have been the thing that pushed it over the top.
Maybe Emma belongs on the top power ranking slots instead. Maybe it's actually her. She's the mastermind.
Maybe we should do a video reviewing her reviews of and ranking her reviews of the Roots 2 cards.
Yes.
Yeah, just turnabout's fair play.
Yes.
This week's Deck of the Week is presented by Your Turn Games. Join us as we take a deeper look at a deck that has sparked our interest and spotlight the mind behind it.
Oh, yeah.
I
like this deck. I like this deck because this is a deck that it feels very... It's got a touch of gimmicky to it.
Mm-hmm.
It does have a touch of gimmicky to it, but it also has a touch of, if my gimmick doesn't work, I think I can still play a decent game.
Yeah.
And I like that, and that screams the creator to me, because the person that built this deck is Jonathan Gomez. We talked about him. He tied win for first place at the East Central Regional there in Knoxville, Tennessee. And I don't know how much he's played this tournament season, because again, he's not usually been that active the last couple of years during the tournament season. But this is a deck I know he's been working on for a while. I know that he put some notes on there that this was the same deck that he had prepared to play at Nationals last year. It's a cool concept because it again, it's got a little bit of gimmicky, but it's not so gimmicky that it just fails when its gimmick doesn't work. And I feel like he's got a lot of experience with that kind of deck building for a gimmicky It almost feels bad to say gimmicky. But I mean, I feel like that's what he did for years with the mill deck, known for the mill deck and trying to push the mill strategy and things. But when the mill strategy didn't work, he had to be able to pivot and play a decent game. And I think as well as you can do with, the limitations of mill cards and what you can do outside of that as a fair base game, I think he did pretty well with it. But this is called The Chosen, and this is V3. This is available on the Redemption CCG app, and we will put it down in the show notes on the episode, so you can just click the link and go right to it and review it. But this is a full-on disciple deck. And when I say full-on disciple, I mean it is a full-on disciple. How many disciples do you count in his main deck?
I count 13 disciples in his main deck.
In his main deck. That's a lot. Is that 12?
13.
That's at least 12.
Yeah, 13.
But it only takes 12, right?
It only takes 12.
Your Disciples of the Lamb play. So, yes, that is kind of what he's got baked in here. So, that's why I say it is a little bit gimmicky. But apart from that, he's built a solid, straightforward disciple deck with GOC cards. Obviously, you've got the Matthew, you've got Peter with 4-drop McCoy for your acceleration. He's got Book of the Law, New Covenant to go here. Denarius is there to snag another draw. So he's got a lot of setup potential. Yeah. His dominant lineup is also kind of interesting because it's kind of bold. It's really hard for me to see somewhere where you dedicate a slot to Mayhem and Right on Awesome Things and Redemption.
Redemption, yeah.
So it's like those are you've got 3 flex dominants in a deck that usually has like 1 flex dominant spot. So his dominants are Awesome Things, Right on, Redemption, and then Mayhem. But then on that he's got the classic Son of God, Second Coming, 3 Woes, and if you're playing GOC, he's got Resurrection in here. So that's what he's got. He's also got, and this reminds me of his meal strategies because he's got Scapegoat in here to just stall out a turn so he can accelerate and get more pieces, and that helps him with the, he's got a couple of artifacts here that potentially could overlap. Like if you get your Denarius and you want to do it, if you get an early Scapegoat and you can just get another round of acceleration before you have to go into battle.
Yeah.
So that's kind of bold.
He's basically using the Nativity's defense with even cut down
the
more.
Nativity's defense.
Cut
you
down
mean
more.
Your defense?
Yeah. Like I mean, it's popularized. Like obviously, Herod's already popular there, but I say like this is something that we ran in Nativity a lot. So like because we did do well at that tournament, I call it Nativity defense, even though like it's not. It's Herod's. It's gold. He's got 9 dedicated evil cards, and the rest is just about his brute force disciples, but also that disciple to land combo coming out of the reserve there, just for that chance to be good. Also, his soul base is based on undesirables imitate to see if he can cause problems there. The concept is like if you mess up anywhere on your attack on him, he can really slow you down with undesirables. He can really slow you down with Scapegoat. Get some extra artifact activations. Get some more draw in. Get an extra turn for Bethlehem Stable to actually turn on. Pull out a Mary from reserve. He's got a lot of these cool things that'll like accelerate him, find him his dominance to draw cards and set up like Redemption can actually resurrect his disciples that are discarded.
He's got RDJ in here, Romans Destroy Jerusalem, and he's not afraid to play it because he has Redemption backing it up.
So there's a lot of brute power here, but there's also a lot of combo potential. So something you got to be aware of. Very cool. And his considering extra 7 is awesome too. Very fun, very cool deck.
Yeah, considering 7 is literally the 7 that he would put in if he moved to 57. I don't know if he's tested that or whatnot, but he's got that set up to where it's consistent of this being the 7 cards because he's got his 8th Dom, and he's got his 8th Soul. Well, does he have a hopper? He doesn't have a hopper.
He doesn't have a hopper. Oh yeah. Oh, he does have a hopper.
Oh yeah, he does have a hopper. So 9th Soul technically, but his considering pile is Krau's Choice, and then Galileans as the soul, and then he's got Faith of Joseph, Golgotha, Herod's Treachery, Lurking, and the Cross. And so Lurking, I'm guessing, would just be to get to either Herodias' daughter, and then potentially Herod's Executioner in the spot where he wants to equip the weapon and do that gimmick line.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's a strong gimmick line. It works.
It's a good gimmick line.
But it still feels kind of gimmicky.
Yep.
And then he has the choice to just drop in foreign wives at any point. The one thing that I did find a little curious, and I guess maybe it's not that curious, but he has interrupt the battle and play a clay hero from reserve. The Ascension. I'm sorry, it took me a second I'm looking at the card and it took me a second to get the name. Because yes, the outline tool does pull up the full deck in the outline. We don't have to navigate away, which is
amazing.
Great quality of life.
Simply amazing.
But the Ascension, and I know he's probably just using it for the interrupt and the band, but it feels bad not to have a good clay hero in your reserve that you can play down. Because if you play down a Meek Mary, that doesn't get you any impact for it being Mary.
No point.
So that was the one thing I was like, that feels bad to me, because if I'm going to play that card, I want that card to, I'd almost rather, if you're going to do that, I'd almost rather get Mary by way of an artifact or something, like be able to play a card that gets me Mary from my reserve and have her grab the, what is it? The Child is Born?
Yeah, the Child is Born.
Which allows you to band. So she can do her reserve thing and you get that ability. And then you get the same interrupt and band potential that you get from that. I don't necessarily see the line where he's going to consistently be able to take advantage of Mary.
I mean, he's got stable to grab Mary. And that's his way to get Mary.
I always forget that it can get any nativity card. So that is a very valid point. So, and then I guess his Ascension then potentially is
it doesn't grab anybody, just banding, really.
He's converting her, so he's getting to convert her so that he can then play right on with her potentially. But then he grabs, so the clay enhancement makes sense because he's going to have her converted to clay, and that's the card she would pull because she takes a star card. So I mean, it's just kind of the same line of play, just in his way versus the way that I naturally would see that. But same endpoint, so that's cool. This felt kind of like a natural one step away, maybe a couple steps away from the last deck of the week that we did, which was John Early's turn 1 Disciples of the Lamb thing. And it was like a glass cannon potential.
Yeah.
And this is more like I'm trying to be a real deck in case the gimmick doesn't work, but also I still got it baked into where I can get the Disciples of the Lamb play. So I thought this was kind of a cool thing as the next deck of the week to follow up. Plus, anytime I can, shout out and spotlight my good friend, Jonathan Gomez, I'm always going to do that. Guy is great. He's fantastic to hang out with. Always fun. We just don't ever get to see him that much because life is busy and things. You know how it is. So anytime we get the chance to talk about him, that's what we're going to do.
The following segment contains spoilers that may or may not have been approved by the Royal Order for the Secrecy of Expansion Sets. Proceed with caution.
Proceed with caution.
Proceed with caution. And that is a mouthful. Let me go ahead and say that is a mouthful. But you know what else is full? The cupboard is full of cards.
It's full of spoilers. Let's go.
Because we've got a lot of spoilers here. Now, I have sorted these. These are not in the order on the outline, Jake, that they've
been revealed.
Spoiled.
Yeah.
Because I sorted it by set number. So obviously that's going to put utility cards toward the front and then characters and enhancements toward the back. So I think we could just kind of go through and grab a couple of these that we like.
Yeah.
We don't have to go over every one of them, but I do want to highlight this group of evil fortresses because I think they're kind of cool.
Very cool.
The first one is Egypt, so no longer a site. We have site from POC, but Egypt is now going to be a fortress. If your lone pale green human blocks, and I love that it's just a pale green human, so it works with other things. So this is a good card in Booster Draft where you might not have specifically an Egyptian, but you get to discard the top card of each deck. Then if that human is Egyptian, you can draw 2. So that right there, it's not the most natural way, but that's a +3 because you're taking a resource from your opponent and then you're drawing 2 cards. So
it's not a +3. Okay. First off, card game theory here. First off, the discard is from each deck, so that means it is symmetrical. Ideally, Ideally, you're going to be actually hitting their deck more than they're hitting yours, but it is symmetrical on that. Secondly, we rarely count milling.
I just glassed over each deck, even as I read it.
Exactly. In card games, we
I read that as each opponent's deck.
Yeah.
God, it would be so good. Now
I think it should be, honestly.
Now I'm not even excited to play it. I was excited to play it before.
Honestly, I think it could be each opponent's deck. I don't
each opponent's deck.
Yeah,
man, it would be so great.
And the other thing,
because I was, man, in Paragon too.
And the other thing in card games, we rarely count discarding cards from the top of the deck as an actual full card, because that's just a potential card. Like, obviously, if your deck is built to actually completely run them out of cards, eventually that does matter, but it's not the same as a full card in that. Drawing 2 is +2 on this. So, like, yes, this one card turns into 2 cards if you block with a pale green Egyptian. Well, and the discarding is not related in that sense, but drawing 2 is amazing. So that's really cool. The nice thing is that they're doing a cycle for all of the active evil colors. They're all getting their own fort.
Man,
and they're getting.
It's not each opponent's.
Yep.
I'm upset now because the whole time I thought this card was great, and now it's not that it's bad. It's just it's not great. Like, I mean, if we're gonna be honest, if we give this a playability factor, this card isn't playable now.
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
I think it is.
I have to go in with a lone hero to get a draw 2. I would rather just go in with a better hero, and not worry about the cost of the opportunity cost in my hand of this card that I then place down to then go in with a weaker attack than I normally would to gain something like a draw 2. And at the cost of that, I have to lose a card of my own deck. Man, it was up here for me. It was like an 8, dude. And it just plummeted.
Yeah. So in draft, unless you have a lot of Egyptians, it's probably not going to be what you want to do. I wouldn't run it for just pale green defense. I think like Assyrians and stuff and roots, I think you'd actually need Egyptians for the draw 2 to run that in draft. Unless you have a mill plan that I've never seen in draft. But yeah, it could happen. So we don't know. Anyways, it's a cycle. There's one for Rome. There's one for Brown and Persians. So very cool getting a whole cycle of those for all the active evil colors. I'd love to go over them, but we don't have time for all of them. I'll jump to one of my favorites here, Uriah the Hittite. This is one of the first cards I remember having. Like, this is in the beginning sets, if not the original set, the next set. Uriah the Hittite was just a 6/6 back then, I think. He was vanilla, no abilities. This Uriah has an ability, and I love the flavor. You may take
know why they call him Uriah the Hittite? Because David told his folks, make sure he gets hit, aight? Is that wrong?
I feel better about my jokes today now that you said that one. So,
Okay, fair enough.
Okay. Uriah the Hittite. You may take a purple weapon from deck or reserve. That's great. Now, his ability, the other second half. While alone, discard abilities cannot be negated. So 6/2 warrior.
You better get initiative is all I'm saying.
Well, that's the funny thing is, he's like, hey, we're playing for keeps here. Like, whatever's happening, we're playing for keeps. Like, yeah, Uriah, the guy that got sent to the front of the line, like the battle, like, okay, this guy is a bold warrior. He's going out there. His ability might get him killed, or his ability might win you the battle. Like, and that's kind of what Uriah, like, yeah, Uriah's out there in the middle of all by himself. There, he's all alone, going crazy, stabbing this guy in the edge of the wall with a million arrows in his back, like Boromir from Lord of the Rings. So, like, it's very
you gotta love the ladder. Theme. You gotta love the ladder that doesn't go to the top of the wall in the frame too.
Exactly.
Like the wall continues, and that's just as high as they can reach.
So yeah, I love it. I think it's very on theme. Like,
I think you put Helmet on this bad boy, and he becomes dangerous to go and get Valley of Salt.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you put Helmet on him. That's a weapon, and then you attack. You go get Valley of Salt. He's going to probably get initiative 6/2, and then you play it.
Yeah. So, anyways, I think he's really cool. I don't know if he's going to see a ton of like constructed play, but he definitely seems really good for limited. And I just think he's a very thematic character. Very cool.
I like the kind of duality of his ability can be what kills him.
Exactly.
Or it can be what enables you to win that battle.
And it just fits perfectly.
Yeah. So, I mean, from the early days of this podcast, people know I was all about my Noah. Noah the Righteous. I love trying to manipulate him, and then all the brigade started hating on me, so I moved off of it. But I think I would be remiss if I did not. I wouldn't be remiss, the lost soul, but I would feel like a lost soul if I didn't talk about Noah, the Ark Builder. Now, he's 8'7", which thankfully he's not 6'7". I just threw in another bad joke just for you.
Yeah, let's go.
He is an antediluvian, flood survivor, and a prophet. Notable. This is the first time, I believe. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's.
He's been called prophet before. I know on the rainbow
he has, but he's had green on him each time he's been prophet.
Oh,
I think.
yeah.
But I don't know about like super old cards.
Okay,
but I know Noah the
sense.
Righteous, he was green.
Okay,
and then the other Noah from Cloud of Witness,
Rainbow
he
Noah
had green.
Yeah.
So, which I mean, we knew this was the direction they were going, but it's kind of cool to see him be all blue. So
all blue.
You can use some of those things that are like that don't get punished by having more brigades and things. But he also does lose the ability to splash in a delivered and things. But
yeah.
I don't know that that's going to be all that important moving forward now with the limited format, but you can play a Genesis Fortress from deck. So he can play a fortress from deck. That's any Genesis Fortress. So you got that. And then he can ban to an antediluvian, cannot be negated. It's great. He can get your storehouse out if you want to do that. Or what really looks good is he can pair with Garden of Eden. Obviously, he came after the Garden of Eden. We know that. But, it's the book of Genesis. Things can kind of line and sync up well. If put in play, take an antediluvian from deck. So now my boy Noah can play Garden of Eden, take an antediluvian from deck, and then he can ban to an antediluvian. So now you can take, and it's not flood survivor, so he can ban to any antediluvian. So he could ban to potentially this, could go and get you Jared, for example. I believe Jared is an antediluvian by his identifier, who can then ban to, a cloud hero and take a blue enhancement from reserve. So there's some cool kind of lines, but it's the fact that they use these two cards. You can kind of use them in tandem, and it feels good to get kind of that kind of cool line of play built into the card design mechanic of he doesn't get to search and ban because I think that's too strong for a roots card. So he just plays the fortress that searches, and then he gets to ban. And he CBN. Kind of cool. That's all we'll say for spoilers. I mean, there's been a ton of spoilers. I believe someone said that we've gotten 100 and something, and
That's
there was
crazy.
like 100 cards left to go. So
let me add real quick. We got Pig's Soul, negate New Testament humans in battle. So accusers.
Yes, because that is a big one. That's big. That is one
that's going to see play.
That is definitely going to see play. Now, I did think that they were going to hold out forever and just never give us the the blind accusers. The other way or whatever.
Yeah.
Or no, not blind.
Accusers. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, accusers. I guess we need the other blind too. That'd be cool.
Yes.
But yeah, I felt like it was never going to happen, and then it just pops out. Okay, here in Roots. But yes, this one's definitely going to see some play, and I can tell you that this makes it the strategy that Chad had at one point with his Soul Surfer deck. This almost makes that strategy viable. If you can get enough, you can build a hero lineup that can get its own resources and is CBP, or you have ways to make it CBP. And you can, this is a huge boost for like the counter soul strategy. I just want to put down things that people have to get through, because now you can target both New Testament and Old Testament. So that's kind of cool. Definitely will see some play.
Now, it's your chance to join the podcast and have your voice heard as we get ready to answer your questions with this week's Community Mailbag.
All right, we asked. Okay, we might have begged, but you guys gave us some questions. So we're going to hit it off here first from number 4 on the power rankings, representing Team Genesis. My man, Mark Valake said, what are your speculations on how teams will change, and what would you like to see changed? So Jake, as a non-teams player, you would like to see the entire thing overhauled, right?
Overhauled, removed. To be honest, I just, to me, I don't see this teams in Redemption, the way Redemption's currently built and its architecture, card design wise, as something that's truly fully engaging and fun as a, I'm not saying you can't have fun in it, but compared to other events, right? I would rather play Type 1 Classic or Type 1 Unlimited, Type 1 Limited, Type 2 Limited, Type 2. There's every other format, not just the flagship format. I'd rather play Booster Draft. I'd probably rather play Sealed. I think I'd rather play every other format than teams
Do you got to discredit my Nationals win anymore?
I'm not trying to do them at the same time. Like, to me, like, teams is just clunky in that sense. And
I like teams.
Yeah.
I like teams. But I have gotten frustrated with teams over the last year and a half, 2 years, especially now that I've transitioned from playing with Jeremy to playing with my son, because I feel like what you're saying, the structure of it just does not work well as it is built right now. Now, that said, I do think it is a format that is worth preserving and making work right. And I think even if that takes redeveloping it from the ground up, even if you have to retire it for a year and really work on developing and testing things and then bring it back, I'd be okay with that. But I definitely don't want to see it just completely go away like the multiplayer things, because I don't think it's an unhealthy format if done the right way. The problem is it's not set up and done the right way. But one of the things that I know is going to change, I feel like I've gotten enough hints that this is going to get implemented. It's something I've been asking for like 2+ years, is instead of sitting diagonal from your teammate, can we please just sit beside our teammate and share hand knowledge? And like, instead of the whole, like, what do you got? Do you got the block? You got the block? What do you think? You think we should play the dominant? All of that talk that just takes up so much time. Let's just have better communication. We can share hand knowledge with your teammate. It is teams for a reason. I can just open my hand and show him. He's sitting beside me. And then we do in a zigzag. So I go, the player across from me, that's the opponent, the first opponent.
Yep.
They go. Then it comes to my teammate and it just zigzags. And then it repeats. And I don't see anything wrong with that. It would just improve the communication and immediately improve some of the dynamics. Plus, when fortresses, it's weird because you say you share fortresses and things, but they could be on either territory. And so now you have to keep up with it. If all of this team's resources are on this side of the board, all of that team's is on that side, that right there immensely already cleans it up a lot. But another thing that I would like to see personally, if you're going for simplicity's sake, and I think the changes that they've already made is simplicity is the focus, like simplifying things and making it accessible. Teams is not accessible because people play teams in a way they lean more toward disruption and things than they would in any other environment, because you can always have that second deck to bail you out. What I would personally like to see is me and my team sit down, or my teammates sit down, and my deck is my deck. Souls that come out of my deck, This is a hot take. People might not like this, but souls that come out of my deck, I have to defend those souls. Souls that come out of his deck, he has to defend those. And we literally just take turns, and collectively we get to 5. And I would also like to get rid of the rescue doms from, if you just say that you can, everything's the same as type 1, you just take away the rescue doms. And then you play that, so we can both have 3 woes. We can both have all the other dominants. We can share the same souls because they're doing different things for each of us, because we're not sharing those anymore. And I think no card should be shared except for you share the hand knowledge and things. And you can play dominance across, because that crosses the way on turns and things, kind of like every other multiplayer format. But other than that, sharing fortresses makes it clunky. Shared land of bondage, not knowing that distressed hits. If you draw is different because both teammates can potentially trigger if drawn, but not if you draw. Just all these weird things that come from trying to share things that aren't made to be shared. And I think if you clean that up, and if you tell me that it's so accessible that someone can just take out Son of God out of their deck, keep Second Coming if they want, but get rid of Son of God, no Chariot of Fire, and then they bring that deck, just replace that one dominant, and now you just play your type 1 deck. That makes it super accessible across the way. Kids can just take the same deck and play type 1, and then they can play teams, just swapping out one card, and you rock and roll. And then you just play a straight up game from that point. You can still decide as the player, if both players over there, both opponents have souls, you can decide which one you're going to attack, whichever one you think has the least resources. And then the only real interaction the other teammate can give at that point is dominant support. I feel like that simplifies so much of it.
I do agree on that for sure. I would give that a try.
Yeah, so go do that, guys. Elder team, I just made it easy for you. You want to hit us with this next question, which is a combo question.
From Mark Lake and John Early. The question is, how many Type 1 100 card monstrosities do you think there will be at Nats? And the follow-up, well, we'll just start with this one. How many Type 1 100 card monstrosities do you think there will be, John?
How many?
Okay.
I think more than last year. And I think even it would probably was going to be more than last year, just based on performance of last year and how they've done throughout the tournament season. but also the fact that now we know that this is going to be the last year they're allowed in Type 1. So it's kind of like if you were ever going to do it, now's the time to do it. And I know there's some analytical people out there that, is it good or whatever, and might want to know for themselves. Well, this is your last chance to do it at Nationals. So I think it's going to be more than last year. So, and I think last year was what, maybe like 5 or so? I would say probably
that makes sense.
8 to 10.
Follow-up question. Will one win first, or will they take second, third? And predictions on the deck themes that they're going to be running in that event for those 100-card monstrosities.
Okay. All right. So you posed the first question to me. I'm just going to jump in here and go ahead and answer the second one. I think if everything is equal across the board and you told me to pick one player right now, who's going to win Nationals, I would say that it would be between 3 players for me. 3 players. And you know which 3 players.
Jaden,
name them.
Tim, Josh.
Jaden, Tim,
Whoa!
Josh. Exactly. And of those, I think any one of them could win. But if you're telling me that Josh Potrat's a month out from Nationals, has embraced a 100-card deck and ran it through the Lucky Grand Prix, he's fine-tuned it. I don't know if he's going to attend North Central Regional. I hope he does. So, by the time you hear this podcast, we'll know whether he did or not. Interested to see how that goes. If he's running a 100-card deck at Nats, I think I'm taking him. I think I'm going to pick Josh Potrat's to win at Nationals with a 100-card deck. Because he's the analytical mind. He's been against it for a little while, vocal that it's not great that you have to run 100 cards because eventually it does catch up and get clunky. But if he's embracing that and working hard to offset that, I'd say that'd be my dark horse out of the 3. So what do you think? Who do you think has the chance to win with a 100-carder? Because I don't think Jaden's going to do 100
no,
cards.
I don't think he's
I'm definitely thinking that Tim is.
So as someone who has been just casually involved recently, I have not been had my full pulse on the metagame going right now. I'm assuming 100 cards or nativities. I'm not sure if there's any other versions of the 100 cards that are seeing a lot of play. I don't know if there's a 100 card Daniel deck going on. But yeah, like I could see 100 card nativity, 100 card Daniel, something like that working. And yeah, this is the year for it. Like for me personally, like with the rules changing, I would personally just go to 50 just because the rules changing. I'm going to build a deck that I'm going to be able to use or potentially next year. Like that's what I would design if I'm designing a deck. But there is that bonus of, this is the last chance to get this in and last chance to prove any theories you have right. So I could definitely see it happening. I definitely wouldn't make a guarantee on it, but I think we've proven analytically that undercard decks have a chance. Jay actually had a podcast about how to play against 100-card decks. Pretty good to listen to if you want to listen to that. But otherwise, I do think it's a real contender.
Is he paying you for all this advertising?
I'm enjoying it. I love having...
We love you, Jay.
I love having extra content to listen to, and audio content is always good to listen to. So, and I listened to his last podcast, and I would definitely disagree on it in a lot of ways, but I also agree on some ways too. So, anyways, really cool, and I'm excited to see what Nats turns up this year.
Definitely. So the next question is from Tyler Stevens. So I'll let you answer it, but then I'm excited to answer this one because being on the other side. But it says, what makes a Nationals deemed successful as an event, I guess? And then what makes this Nationals worth going to? It almost feels insulting to ask. And then how will this year's Nationals be successful? So what do you think makes a successful Nationals?
So, I mean, we're talking about a, it's opinion based. We're talking about a subjective thing here. What makes a national successful? Like, I think
we're on a podcast. Everything is opinion based.
I know. So, like, you're looking to hit a plurality of different types of people with things that interest them, innovate. Like, things that not innovate, but interest them. So, you're looking for something that's really fun for the more casual redemption players who just show up to Nationals, they're not looking there to take first in any of the events. They're just looking to show up and sling some cardboard with other brothers and sisters in Christ, or just friends, like even if they're not Christians, just like this is a fun game, this is a fun community, showing up, slinging cardboard, getting to look at new cars, getting to talk to the elders, getting to just enjoy the game there. That's one thing. That's not my primary thing, but that is something for a lot of people there. You're looking to draw on the strategic crowd, the crowd that looking for competitiveness, like saying, hey, like I want to go here to show off what I've learned in Redemption, show off my new strategy, show off my new deck, show off my piloting skills, whatever you got. Like that is a huge draw for a lot of players. So if you present them with enough competitive meat to chew on, they're going to be like, that was awesome. I remember my nationals, both of them, like I got to flex my competitive muscles. I didn't do well the first time, but I got the chance to try out some stuff. I learned about how tournaments play at that level, right? Like obviously I done well at local events, but to play on a national event was different. And like, I learned there at that event, like you cannot have a deck that goes for partial wins. Partial wins do not break you through to the end. So I learned, I grew, and that flexed my competitive muscle. That got me some competitive stuff to chew on. So I enjoyed it because of that. So really, you're looking for community, competitive, like casual. You're looking competitive. You want to engage all of them. I do think missing out on the top cut reduces some of that competitive meat, but at the same time, there's still a lot of competitive meat to be had. And
had to squeeze in one more time this episode.
yeah, like I say that in the hope that maybe that comes back in the future. I'm not saying
I absolutely. I will be the one banging the drum.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that because it's not all competitive meat. I'm selling. There's still competitive meat to be had there, so I'm not going to say it's trash now. No, it's good, but like just given my opinion, because I mean that's what. If you're a leader, you always want the opinion of people that you're leading because you want to know how to lead them correctly. So you're just looking to have enough meat. You're looking to have casual meat. You're looking to have competitive meat. You're looking to have just fun meat, like that type of stuff. You want to have fellowship. You want to have fun. And every nationals I've been to has been awesome. And I know that John's gonna make this the best nationals ever, personally himself.
It's Brian's fault whether it's great or it's bad. I'll give up any credit if I can pass all the blame to him as well. But I do think that this is an interesting thing, and it's one of those this is like one of those like mature philosophical things. Like you get this question, you sit and think, and obviously we have big aspirations for this nationals, and I've enjoyed every nationals that I've been to. Even last year, like the event itself, even though I had a poor experience personally, I think it was a good event, a good well ran event overall, in spite of my own personal experience. But knowing that I had that experience and things, I feel like maybe that shapes this answer a little bit, because I think a nationals is successful if you can obviously bring people from different walks of life together to bond over the thing that they share in common, which for a lot of us, it's our faith, but then it's also, the game that we like to play. That's going to naturally happen, hopefully, bringing people together. But I also think if we're calling this a national tournament, people are traveling and spending potentially hundreds and thousands of dollars to make this happen and take time away from families and things. I feel like there's a burden to make sure that the competitive part of it is intact and runs smooth. And again, this is not trying to harp and draw from past experience or anything, but I mean, like, no, not allowing a player to cheat or anything like that, and I think for the most part, we completely avoid that as a community. So I think as a baseline, just not having drama in the categories as they're played, the formats as they're played, is a baseline. Like we don't want to have issues come up. We want everything to run smooth that way. Obviously, timing has a chance to kind of make people feel rushed and things throughout the day. And I think that can give a sense of, maybe nationals wasn't as fun because I felt under the gun a lot. So I think keeping things moving and all of that as a baseline, but also bringing those people together and giving them the avenues and the opportunities to do the side events together, to come on the Wednesday night and things, creating more engagement points with those people from different walks of life. Like we've got the fantasy draft. That's not something for everyone. It primarily is the 4 people drafting. And maybe some of the players that get drafted are into it or whatever. That's a touch point. You have the Paragon side event. That's a touch point. The Ironman side event, another touch point. You have us doing the Elder Address and worship set before, and I believe it's Luke Marshall that's going to speak briefly afterwards and give like a devotion and those things. That's just more touch point and people coming together and focusing on the things that they have in common, which is this game. And then again, for a lot of us, I don't want to assume, but it's also the faith aspect. And I think capitalizing on that and finding a way to make those the central thing while also trying to avoid any bad issues or things that stand out from the competitive side of it, I think all goes together to make it overall a successful. But also, I want people to walk away, if it's successful and truly successful, I want people to walk away and feel like they just had the best experience at nationals they've ever had.
Yeah.
And if you can get that throughout a majority of the people, then you don't even have to gauge whether it was successful. You know it was based on the reports that you're going to get after the fact. And I think this year, if you're asking me what makes this worth going to and why is this one going to be successful, I think it's the fact that I feel like my competitiveness for the game has dropped off a lot as I focused on other aspects of this game and being, part of the community in other ways, touching the game in different ways than just playing. Brian Jones is one of the most competitive players that we have, if not the most. He is foregoing playing at all in order to host a tournament. So that, you know what I mean? Like you already see how important it must be to someone like him to put on a good event. And then you've got Jaden, who obviously he's still going to play, but being part of I feel like we brought together a very strong host team of people. And this is not a knock on anyone else, but most other host groups are close-knit people that are located in the same region or same area that host together. For the most part, not always, but Jaden's in Minnesota, I'm in Alabama, Brian's in Kentucky, Steven's also in Kentucky, but we're working together, and so we all bring personal strengths and things to that host team, and I think that gives it a little bit more of a dynamic edge. And then just capitalizing on, like I said, those touch points, creating more ways to engage with the game through both the faith aspect and the card aspect, which is the common bonds among all these people that are going to be traveling to a little place called Wilmore, Kentucky.
Wilmore.
So, yeah. I don't know what that was. I'm sorry.
That was amazing. That's what it was.
So I'm going to hit you with this one.
Yeah.
So, and we're going to close on this one right here. But Brian Jones, he's always trying to drop the big question. So this says there have been many contributions to our game over the years. He did tell me that the Redemption Nationals database that I was working on didn't count for this question. But he said, especially lately with everything offered by redemptionccg.app, is there something as big as that or bigger that you would like to see happen?
Yeah. And maybe I'm answering this in the way that he doesn't expect to be answered, but this is what came to my mind. I don't think there's going to be many things. I don't expect anything bigger than what Redemption CCG app's going to do our community anytime soon. I don't expect it. But if you're asking me what I wish for, is there anything that I would like to see happen? I think the big thing in my mind is that the Redemption game and community gets an infusion from an outside source that takes an interest in it, like some sort of Magic streamers, some sort of video game streamers. There's seriously, dude, I checked out this game. It's actually really cool. Like, this is really hot. It's really intense strategy.
Well, the reason I'm laughing is that earlier today, literally earlier today, completely so. I wasn't looking at the outline. I wasn't looking at this question, and I didn't know that you were going to answer it this way.
Yeah.
But I had the idea, and it crossed my mind, and I'm not knocking any of the team aspect that's going on, but seeing like Andy sponsored the team and stuff, I was like, man, how crazy would it be if like Andy or, even Charles, like one of the retailers or somebody in the game that could do it, reached out to like one of these streamers for Magic or something that's got some popularity, some clout, some follow, and offered to sponsor them to get them cards so that they could play, just like 2 months out of the season leading up to Nationals, and then come to Nationals and just experience it and like record their experience or whatever.
That'd be amazing.
Stream that kind of stuff. Obviously, you can't stream the gameplay itself, but I just it randomly crossed my mind. Like, I don't have the resources to offer someone to come do that, but that would be really, really cool. And it was kind of like one of those wild hair ideas. Like, that would be cool, knowing it's probably never going to happen. But now you bring it up.
Like that is my wish, is that somehow someone with either a lot of following or a lot of financial backing found Redemption and got excited about it and try to push it. Like, if there was some sort of, like, if Elon Musk was like, man, I found this game, it's really cool. He invested millions into it. Like I know it sounds crazy, and I know I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm saying, like, if that did happen, that would be really cool just to see the community triple quadruple, like
Okay.
10 times
So
overnight.
So let
like,
me ask you this.
uh-huh.
Let me ask you this. Apart from the size growing,
Yeah.
if we did have an infusion of people and even
Yeah.
monetary,
Yeah.
what would you want the impact of that to create for the game?
I would love to see nationals being have more prizes. I'd love to see like more people involved in LGP, in Zoom tournaments online, like more making it easier to establish play groups when there's more people, like, oh, hey, like, do you have a local play, like that type of thing. Like, it would just be nice to have an infusion of blood. At the same time, we don't want to lose our community's closeness, knitness, and we don't want to, like, there is pros and cons to all these things, but I would love to see an infusion of blood and care. And the other thing that'd be cool about it to me too, I'm sorry, rambling on here, I
No,
would
you're
love to
good.
see, like, if they, like, a team of outsiders came in and was like, oh, you got your teams in there, we're going to come with our team. See what type of strategies people could come in with from outside the game. Because I know that Redemption is so deep, and there's so many different random cards that you'd like that are not seeing play that should see play. Like 3 Nails. I think 3 Nails is amazing, and it could see a lot of play if you found the right way. I'm trying to crack it right now. But the point is, like, I would love to see some innovation coming from outside sources, people that are not bound by the rules that we've established for ourselves of playing all the time. Like I think it'd be really cool. So, that's what I like to see.
Well, I was going to give an answer that wasn't going to please Brian because what he wants and what he said he wants is us to say something big. He clarified his answer to me, or
Yeah.
his question to me. He was like, it's got to be something that, like, isn't happening now, but you want it to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, I can tell you something, and again, this isn't going to surprise anyone, especially after the stuff I said earlier. I want tournament data and resources, like, and transparency about tournaments. So I would love to see some way for the workflow for tournaments to change to where it became easier to track which deck did well at which tournament over the season,
That'd be cool.
which player won each state, instead of just being able to look and see, oh, this player won a state. You don't really know which state they won by RNRS, but to have a little bit more transparency with that. And I guess this is a cop-out because I do know that Tim's working on trying to get it to where, and he mentioned this as one of the future goals for his site, is players register themselves and submit their digital deck list, create a profile, or using their profile on the app,
Mm-hmm,
they sign up for a tournament, and then the host sees a collection of people that have registered before he starts the category. They've registered themselves. Their deck list is there. You can use that to deck check if you're doing a physical deck check, which, for most tournaments you should be. I'll leave that there.
Yeah.
But then you press start and it pulls in all that data. So now you have that player and whatever result they have tied to their deck list that they submitted, that now becomes, data that we can store and we can sort and we can look at over time and see what cards are being used the most at tournaments that are winning, and at players are winning tournaments, and what cards are the common cards used, and data that we all want to see but we've never had. And so I know that that's kind of something that's a future goal for Tim, and I hope we get to that point. But I don't know anything that in an official capacity from Cactus or anything that is pushing us toward that. But I would like to see some progress in that regard, to where we acknowledge. I think it would just be healthy for us to acknowledge that where we are right now with, tournament tracking and things. I really do think that that's the lifeblood of the game growing, and you want to see it grow. That's your biggest thing, is seeing the game grow. I think tournaments is the best way to do that.
Yeah.
I don't think it looks good for us as a game. If someone did come in from Magic the Gathering with their own team, and they found the game interesting and they were playing it, and they couldn't tell who won a big tournament that just happened. Like, we just had 3 regional tournaments, and I'm not knocking any host, but we just had 3 regional tournaments on the same weekend. And on Discord, I didn't see any results. I did have a couple results sent to me, so I could share them on the podcast. But, there's just not, and I'm not knocking the host. I know we don't have the infrastructure for that to become public knowledge, especially not in real time. There's nothing happening that I know in an official capacity that gets us to that. I'd like to see that, so that, like, if you brought in an influx of players right now, I think that they would find the fact that there's not a lot of transparency with tournament results, what decks are doing well at tournament, apart from players choosing to say. There's this notion, of players being able to keep their deck a secret. I think your deck can stay a secret as long as you don't play in a sanctioned tournament.
Yeah.
As soon as you play in a sanctioned tournament, that should be public data.
Exactly.
And everyone should get to know exactly what you played, exactly every card that was in your deck. And the fact that we have a game where people can go an entire season doing well. What deck is, and I'm not knocking him, but Stephen Brooks, we've got him at number 3 on our power rankings, killing the game, winning all kinds of stuff. What deck is he playing? What deck do you think he's playing? Like, I mean, you just have no idea.
Yeah.
Unless he chooses to share that. But if he doesn't share that, and I don't think it necessarily should be up to the player to have to share that. It just, that data should be a data point that is collected for us as a game. We should have infrastructure around that if we're going to continue to press forward and try to be a legitimate trading card game and want to grow. I think that's a pillar of what we need in order to get to that point. And I'm not knocking Rob for being busy and not, having the money to put into it and all that right now. It's just, Brian asked a question, what would I like to see that is not happening right now? That's it. That 100%, that's it.
That makes sense. I like it.
Yep. So we have gone way over limit. I had put this that we were going to shoot for 2 hours. It is 2 hours and 46 minutes on this clock. Obviously, some of that will come down with editing, but I think we're going to go ahead and try to get out of here. Do want to say thank you once again to our sponsor, Your Turn Games, Andy and Kelsey Fish. So if you need any products for Nationals, you can go and check out their site. They'll also be set up at Nationals. Well, not them. I don't think Kelsey will be there. Andy will be set up with all of his products that you would need for Nationals, the singles, sealed product probably. I don't know how much of that, but the Paragon decks, things like that. So go and check them out. And other than that, I had fun hanging out with you tonight, Jake.
This was awesome. I'm hyped.
It was awesome. I feel like we hit that lull maybe about 30 minutes ago to where we're like, man, let's get it over with. But I mean, we had some good energy to start this
it
thing.
was good. It was good.
We'll go ahead and cut out here, and we'll catch you next time.
God bless.
Peace.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Threshing Floor Podcast. Help us grow our community by leaving a rating and review wherever you listen to podcasts. While you're at it, be sure to subscribe or follow so you don't miss the next episode. And we'll talk to you next time on the Threshing Floor Podcast.